Let us pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants who have been pleased to call to the performance of important trust in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interest you have committed to our charge. Amen.
Thank you. Chief Guest, sir, I request that we still remain upstanding, and this time it is in honor of one of our fallen hero and heroes, Sergeant at Arms in the past, but presently we are saddened by the passing on of one of our own from the National Assembly, Mr. Richard Sang. Mr. Sang joined the Parliament in the year 2001 and passed away in India 3 days ago while undergoing treatment. We observe a minute of silence in remembrance of Richard and other colleagues. 1 minute of silence. Thank you. We may have our seats. Chief Guest, sir, we welcome you to our third conference, but in detail, this is going to be done by the patron of the Association of Sergeant at Arms of Kenya and the Chief Sergeant at Arms of the Senate, Major Retired Sorbit, who will then subsequently invite the other speakers. Major Sorbit, sir.
Our chief guest, the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Interior, National Administration, Honorable Kipumba Murman, Speaker Emeritus, Right Honorable Eko Eturo, Clerk of the Senate and Secretary to Parliamentary Service Commission, and Clerk, National Assembly, distinguished guests, colleagues, friends from academia, Kenyatta University and National Defense University, Kenya, and other colleagues, facilitators, distinguished guests, colleagues from both houses of parliament and the 47 county assemblies, representatives from the esteemed security services, our partners, and other partner legislative communities. It's a profound honor and privilege to welcome you to this third National Sergeant at Arms Conference. As we gather here today, under the timely and imperative theme, future-proofing legislative support functions in times of change. This is organized with the National Parliament in collaboration with Society of Sergeant at Arms of Kenya that builds upon the foundations established during the first and second National Conference and the inaugural Sergeant at Arms Leadership Forum. The Sergeant at Arms function builds upon steeped history originating from medieval attendance to the monarch, but has evolved through centuries of tradition to the modern era where the role has transformed into a sophisticated and essential function within the legislature. We stand today as a central figure responsible for maintaining order, managing complex security systems, and safeguarding institutional assets of the 21st century parliament. This conference is necessitated by the fact that our institutions are in a state of constant transition. We face heightened security risks such as terrorism, cyber threats, and the evolving demands of bicameral system of parliament and the devolved subnational legislatures. To meet these challenges, our deliberations over the next few days are guided by clear strategic objectives that include enhancing professional capabilities that aim to strengthen skills through structured mentorship, peer learning, creation of national repository of professional body of knowledge, promoting high operational standards, which makes the Sergeant-at-Arms committed to upholding high standards of legislative security protocol and ethics across our legislative institutions, fostering inter-institutional cooperation that forms a forum to improve how we work together to address emerging security and procedural challenges, while advocating for legal recognition of the association and focus on securing necessary policy support and legal recognition of the Sergeant-at-Arms profession. And lastly, standardizing practices that seeks to formulate and adopt resolutions that will harmonize our operations across bicameral parliament and the 47 county assemblies. Beyond these objectives, we will examine several core pillars designed to reinforce our legislative support systems, which will deeply analyze constitutional and legal mandates as guardian of legislative authority. A key priority remains formalizing of institutional linkages between national executive, national parliament, and county assemblies, and positioning Sergeant-at-Arms as facilitator of legislative diplomacy. Distinguished guests and colleagues, we recognize professionalization is no longer an option, but a necessity in order to address the fluid nature of legislative institutions. We will discuss the development of a standardized system of service for the entire Sergeant-at-Arms body, both for national parliament and devolved legislatures, specialized capacity building pathways, and the national Sergeant-at-Arms operational framework to ensure a unified professional identity nationally. We must also address the human element of our profession. The unique and dynamic environment in which we operate exposes officers to significant stress, and therefore will explore the application of resilient theory to reinforce well-being of Sergeant-at-Arms staff. Finally, we look towards a future by embracing innovation, addressing digital threats through integrated operational systems and adaptive business continuity strategies. Our ultimate goal is to foster a more resilient legislative environment capable of safeguarding democratic governance. Through the sessions scheduled for the conference period, we will seek to harmonize our operations and emerge with a clear adaptive strategy for years ahead. Let us engage with necessary gravitational pull and dedication that our roles demand as custodians of institutional dignity. And this is anchored by our relationship with the executive through the Ministry of Interior and National Administration. I thank you, colleagues, and it's now my privilege to invite the Clerk of National Assembly, who will then invite the Clerk of the Senate. I will invite our chief guest, Clerk, National Assembly.
Thank you very much, Chief. And our patron for the day, our distinguished Minister for Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration, Right Honorable Speaker Emeritus, my colleague, the Clerk of the Senate, our resource persons, our Chief Sergeant-at-Arms of National Parliament and our county assemblies, our Sergeant-at-Arms officers. Good morning. It gives me pleasure to be with you today. I came very early. God had been notified that you need to open this by 8. And because I know it's a meeting of Sergeant-at-Arms, highly disciplined officers who always keep time, we ensured that we are here in good time. And we understand that you have other duties that delayed your schedule. It really gives me honor to be here today and to address you during this important gathering, which brings together officers of Sergeant-at-Arms from both National Parliament and our distinguished county assemblies. It is very timely, colleagues, because we have about 501 days to the next elections. It's about 70 weeks or 71 weeks or so to go. And it's good that we discuss how to prepare ourselves, how to prepare our institutions, both at national parliament and our counties, for now, the transition, and the future. It reminds us that even though we serve in different institutions, we are united by one common purpose, which is to uphold the dignity, order, and effectiveness of our legislative bodies. Let me start by thanking you for the work that you do, all of you, whether you work in the national parliament or counties. The order that we see, the dignity that we see in the national parliament and our counties is because of the officers in blue and green who are seated here today. Please clap for yourselves. Because we see, from national parliament, we see a lot of uniformity in the manner in which you do things in counties. My heart sinks every time we see disorder, because disorder happens both in national parliament and in our counties. But I get delighted when I see our officers in blue and in green always on the forefront, being non-partisan and trying to separate members and bring order to houses of assemblies. You stand at the intersection of ceremony and security, of tradition and change. Every day you help create the environment that allows leaders to debate, to disagree, and ultimately make decisions on behalf of the people of Kenya. One Aristotle said this, that the law is reason, free from passion. But for that reason to prevail, there must be order, and that order rests firmly in your hands. Thank you, Patron, for remembering our fallen colleague, Mr. Sang, who left us the other day. And that shows the honor in which you carry one another, irrespective of where they are serving. Waziri, last parliament where you served, I think we lost about 15 members during the term of that parliament. This parliament, the national parliament, I think we've lost 7 members in both houses. It's very unfortunate. But what do we see every time we have such incidences? The first point of call is always office of the speaker, from speaker to clerk, sergeant at arms. Sergeant, do something. Go to that home. Make sure everything is in order. Provide security. Provide protocol services. The last incident, Waziri, and allow me to speak about it, when we lost the late Honorable Ngeno. Nobody plans for death. And the nearest sergeant arms officer was an officer of the Senate, the chief sergeant of the Senate. And Honorable Ngeno is serving in the National Assembly, because it happened in Eldoret. And when we were coordinating the matters of the day with the DCI and other officers, how to bring, to secure the place, take the body to mortuary, bring the body to the capital, the officers we were talking to from DCI, they said, we are happy because the person on the other side who we are talking to seems to understand our language. And they were referring to Major Sorobit. And therefore, even though we would have wanted that body to stay in Eldoret for some days, because the officer seems to understand our language and is able to ensure that certain protocols are upheld to safeguard the site and the body, we will allow the body to be released immediately. That speaks for coordination. That speaks to certain training elements that all of you need to have uniformly, irrespective of where you are serving, so that you are able to speak one language, irrespective of where you are serving, and you respond to duty. Because I would expect that if an incident happens in Kiambu, and the nearest officer is the Chief Sergeant at Arms of Kiambu County Assembly, we are able to ask that officer to respond. Why? Because we speak the same language. We share certain ideals together as officers who serve houses, legislative assemblies. Distinguished colleagues, houses of parliament, both at national level, county level, and state level, have historically been under threat because they are always centers of attention. You recall in Parliament of India in 2001, terrorists managed to enter the Lok Sabha, and their aim was to kill members of Lok Sabha. It's 2001. And since then, Parliament of India has never been the same again. It's very difficult to access that place. In Egypt, 2011, during the revolution, one of the targets was their legislature. 2017 in UK, and I happened to be visiting UK that time, there was an attack at the Westminster Bridge. And that attack, somebody who was driving, was able to, unfortunately, to cause death of persons at the Westminster Bridge, but they ended up entering the Palace of Westminster. Palace of Westminster is Parliament. And the idea was for them to cause harm there. They were taken down by officers of Serjeant and Security. In 2014, we know what happened in Parliament of Canada, House of Commons of Canada. An assailant was able to access the House of Commons of Canada all the way with the aim of causing harm, and they were stopped by the Chief Sergeant at Arms, who killed the assailant. In Hong Kong, in 2019, protesters entered their chamber, ended up destroying their chamber. And again, the Sergeant at Arms rose to the occasion to protect the capital. Not far from home, South Africa, it has happened severally. And the last one, there was arson attack, I think in 2022, in the Parliament of South Africa, in Cape Town. It was very sad. And then closer home, the incidents of June 2024. And I dare say, before you were saying that, the heroes of that day, because I was in the House until the last minute with our Speaker and members, the heroes of that day were Sergeant at Arms and our security officers. We had there was enough firepower around the institution of Parliament. When we were going through videos, we saw video of a police officer cornered in a corner, people throwing stones, young people throwing stones at him. He has a gun, but he is restraining himself in a corner, simply receiving stones from right, left, and center, and he didn't use his gun. I mean, is that not heroism? Because that is restraint. The people who secured our members of Parliament, Speaker, our members, our staff, so largely our Sergeant at Arms. And that day, there was no Senate or National Assembly. Everybody in uniform was simply doing their job. So I celebrate you today, those who serve as Sergeant at Arms in our respective houses of legislature. These examples, and many others which I have not mentioned, teach us that Parliament and our county assemblies are not just buildings. They are a living arena of power, of conflict, ideology, and national and regional identity. Because they are those places, and wherever there is such concentration of competing interests, there will always be risks. And that is precisely why your role as Sergeant at Arms officers is critical. Today, tomorrow, and in future. Distinguished colleagues in public service, because that's who we are, as we look to the future, the challenges we face today will evolve. Emerging security threats, technological advancements, and changing political dynamics will require flexibility and continuous learning. Investment in training, coordination, and modernization will always be essential. From the global and historical incidences that I've just mentioned, we can pick a few lessons that inform our preparedness. These include the importance of intelligence coordination and risk assessment. 2, the need for stronger access control and surveillance systems. Even though our constitution, even though our practices require that houses of parliament and county assemblies are places of the people, and therefore we should facilitate access. access is not a right. Access should not be simply be free, simply because somebody comes to the gate and says, I'm a member of public, I want to access parliament. It shouldn't be too easy, because the attention that is there in our county assemblies and our parliament is very high, and therefore we need to up our game. 3, preservation of institutional dignity, even when we are under extreme pressure. Continuous training in conflict management and non-lethal intervention, and the need for clear protocols for handling internal disorder. Ladies and gentlemen, let this conference strengthen our common resolve as public officers and state officers to renew our commitment to this mission and to this nation. As we often say within our chambers, the mess is in place. Let our gratitude be recorded. With these few remarks, thank you very much. I wish us fruitful deliberations for the next 2 or 3 days. Permit me now, Chief Guest, to invite my distinguished colleague, the Clerk of the Senate, to address the forum. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my brother, the Clerk of the National Assembly. Our chief guest, the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration, the Honorable Senator Onesmus Kipumba Murman. Once a senator, we say always a senator. We are very pleased that you have been able to join us. The Right Honorable Speaker Emeritus, Senator David Ekwe Ethuro, my brother, the Clerk of the Assembly, Mr. Samuel Njoroge, colleagues from the Parliamentary Service, both the National Assembly and the Senate, and our very distinguished colleagues and participants from the county assemblies, our distinguished facilitators, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I have the pleasure as well to join you this morning at this very important conference that brings together the Sergeant-at-Arms from the National Assembly, from the Senate, and from our county assemblies. This gathering provides us with a most valuable opportunity to reflect on how we can strengthen legislative support services in our respective institutions. We meet at a time when legislative institutions are facing emerging and complex challenges. Security threats continue to evolve, technology is rapidly changing, and how we conduct a parliamentary business and our political environment is dynamic. At the same time, we operate within limited resources, and these new realities, all of them require us to be alert, to be prepared, and to be united in purpose. I'd like to emphasize from the onset that the success of the Office of Sergeant-at-Arms depends largely on your individual performance, as well as collective performance and commitment as officers. Your loyalty, your discipline, your integrity, your dedication to duty, all of these are very critical to the smooth functioning of our legislative institutions. The role of Sergeant-at-Arms, as has been spoken to, now goes way beyond the traditional responsibility that most people have come to associate the Sergeant-at-Arms with, the maintaining of the custody of the mess and the providing of chamber security. Today, we all know that the mandate goes well beyond this to managing the parliamentary precincts, ensuring the safety of members and staff, enforcing protocol, facilitating order during proceedings, housekeeping, protocol, all of this. Without your presence and vigilance, legislative business cannot proceed effectively. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, this conference, therefore, is a strategic platform for us to strengthen governance, to protect our institutions, and to enhance the capacity of our county assemblies. Our objective is to reinforce constitutional order and promote public confidence in our legislatures. As we deliberate, I would like to encourage that we focus on a number of areas. One, of course, we must strengthen our professional capacity. We must continuously improve our skills and knowledge to respond to modern security and operational demands. We have emphasized at the National Legislature that we must promote professionalism of all cadres, and we have encouraged associations of all cadres of our staff. You know about the association of Hansard, you know about the association of the legal counsel in parliaments. There is an association for researchers. There's a parliamentary budget office, the offices of the fiscal analysts. So all of these are very important to strengthen our professional capacity. We also need to enhance collaboration between the national legislature and the county assemblies, because strong linkages and coordinated approaches in these areas, such as security, protocol, chamber management, will ensure consistency and efficiency across our legislatures. We need to promote professionalism and recognition of the sergeant at arms function. We need to build our resilience because our institutions must be able to withstand and respond effectively to security threats, technological disruptions, and other challenges. And we must promote continuous learning and continuous sharing of best practice. This conference therefore provides an important space for experience sharing, reflection, and mutual support. By the end of it, we expect we are going to establish stronger networks among sergeant at arms across the country, develop clearer standard operational protocols, and also enhance the overall efficiency of our legislative support services. Ladies and gentlemen, Parliament and the county assemblies are central pillars to our democracy, and the responsibility for safeguarding these institutions is a most noble one. It calls for tolerance, it calls for discipline, it calls for impartiality, constant vigilance. We must never allow complacency in the discharge of our duties. It is our desire to see our legislative institutions grow into world-class bodies that serve all Kenyans faithfully and effectively. Each one of us has an important role in helping to achieve these goals. I will therefore be urging that we participate actively in the discussions, we share our experiences, we share our experiences openly, and we commit ourselves to implementing the resolutions that we will make at the end of the conference. Before I invite the CS, our very distinguished guests, I'm very pleased that we have in our midst, and allow me to say so, very distinguished alumni. We are at a time when institutions are very proud of their alumni. You have seen the alliance, and people having the alumni day and celebrations, and people coming dressed in their respective uniforms from those days. You saw in the chamber this week an alumnus of Kapsabet High School coming in their uniform. So I'm just thinking that for the Senate, we need to have some outfit that our alumni senators, and now we have serious alumni in high places, right from the deputy president, quite a number in the cabinet, with the retired speakers and all. So we are very proud of you. But it's a good start. They are all in blue, the color of the Senate. It's a good start. And the clerk of the assembly has joined in that. And yours truly, of course. So we are very proud of you, Honorable CS. We have shared very nostalgic moments. And the Right Honorable Speaker said, we were in this place. We were together. And it's very good to see you commit and answer to our humble call to come and join us. So with these remarks, my singular honor and privilege to invite our very distinguished chief guest, our former client. We are deeply honored, took his time to come and address us. Please be upstanding and put your hands together for the Honorable CS, Interior and National Administration.
Sorry, please be seated. Right. Evolve. Your capacity to adapt must evolve with them. Security threats are complex and changing. The threats facing legislative institutions today are not just physical, but also related to cybersecurity, disinformation, and hybrid threat are real and growing. We must invest in scenario-based training, advanced skills, and integrated security systems that prepare you for all of them. Let me just say, Mr. Speaker, there that I mean, I am fairly aware of what happened when we had new constitution and established the 47 county assemblies. A lot of work was left to the National Assembly and the Senate, and particularly the National Assembly of that time to prepare the Senate and prepare for county assemblies. And soon after we came to Parliament now in 2013, we went through a very, difficult time trying to adjust. Some of you left Parliament. Thank you, Sergeant at Arms. Yeah, you know, you are very multi-purpose in terms of the work you do. So I was making this submission regarding the establishment of the county assemblies. And I know some of you left your job in national parliament to go to county assemblies. I am sure there are 1, 2, 3 people who are here who initially were in national parliament. And so there was all that period of change. Some of us who came to parliament for the first time, the speaker will tell you that we didn't even have a place to hold our sitting. So we configured some room in KICC because the current chamber of Senate was still under renovation. And I think we operated there for almost 1.5 years. And through all those challenges, we had very hardworking sergeant-at-arms who are very innovative. And of course, working with the clerk here to make sure that we settled. So therefore, when we talk about level of threats, I think it is different from one chamber to another, one county to another, and they are complex in nature. We have challenges when I see, let me give a few examples. One, when you look at from the national parliament, maybe the challenge now is not so much physical fights. It has gone down. We may have 1 or 2, but because of media scrutiny and the level of scrutiny that goes with being a member of a big national stage with live coverage of media and all that, I think the misbehavior of members of parliament, both in the Senate and National Assembly, has gone down. But I really sympathize with you guys because I see you doing a lot of gymnastics in county assemblies where assembly members are fighting, they are unable to communicate, so because you are insisting it must be English or Kiswahili. I saw in one of the county assemblies, an MCA was requesting the speaker to give him just a very brief moment, aseme kwa mother tongue, you know. And you know, when someone is unable to communicate, the next thing they resort to is to physically. And if they don't understand also some English terms, I know they're your clients, so you are very careful. You don't want your county to be mentioned. But when they don't understand what the other person said, they misunderstand, it gets into a physical fight. Those threats really require a certain level of training. And the 2 clerks, and also for the sergeant-at-arms here, sometimes I wonder when a county assembly wants to have a sitting, and I have seen many county assemblies having unprocedural sittings without an order paper, you know, and the sergeant-at-arms has been told you must bring the mess, and we must sit now, and they were on recess. It is not gazetted, yeah, and a decision must be made. I really think it may be very difficult for you people because maybe the speaker who is asking you to do it, he is also the chair of county assembly service board, so he's your boss when it comes to your employment, and you are wondering whether I should follow the law or I should follow you take care of your job. I think that if this conference should be able to find out those areas of challenge, and we can look for legislative amendments that will protect the office of the sergeant-at-arms in the county assembly. I know that at the national level, one of the reasons why the members of parliament respect the sergeant-at-arms, even when they are fighting, they are being separated and so forth, is because partly they know that the Powers and Privileges Committee may make severe recommendations against their presence in parliament, and they consider also national level fairly covered with highly trained police officers around them. So it is important that to give confidence to the sergeant-at-arms, there should be certain level of legislative proposals that can look into protecting the jobs of the sergeant-at-arms and making it very punitive for a member of county assembly to want to carry out certain, go through certain procedures to get what they want by force. So I suggest that there must be ways to protect the office of Sergeant at Arms, particularly in the county assemblies. The second thing is that I know that because also of the level of threats that we face now, we have a very, unfortunately, as I said earlier, the social media presence of technology, currently there is a lot of disinformation and misinformation and fake news that is really highly spread across the country. Sometimes, unfortunately, targeting assemblies, county assemblies, and the National Assembly and the Senate. And this misinformation may be about a bill that is not there, and they say it's in Parliament. Sometimes it's about a legislative proposal that is not there, a fake legislative proposal. Or there might be a legislative proposal, but it is subject to debate and approval by the Assembly or the Parliament. I think that, and as a result, you have a very agitated population that now quickly gets mobilized in social media to invade Parliament. And the clerk of the National Assembly captured well the threats that assemblies, parliaments have faced all over the world. Our lowest moment as a republic, at least having watched what has happened in Parliament, even before I became a member of Parliament, I remember even the 1998 scenario of opposition wanting to impeach President Moi, and there were chaos and all that. But Parliament has never been breached in the way Parliament was invaded on 25th of June 2024. I think that is the lowest moment in our republic. I feel very sad that sometimes it is glorified that, oh, it was, people were expressing their democratic right and so forth. I said, and I repeat here, that was in any functional democracy all over the world, that was an act of terrorism and an act of terror. To invade an institution that is supposed to be the institution that brings the country together, the place for debating interests of the nation, and for it to be defiled in the way National Assembly and the Senate was defiled on 25th of June 2024, the events of that day will go down in history as the most shameful period of our as a nation so far. And therefore, nobody should, I hear some of the members of Parliament were urging protesters to come in, to go and sit in Parliament, and I really felt very sad for most of you because you not only needed to protect members of Parliament, but you also needed to protect yourselves. And I think that the legal action that was taken by the DCI and subsequently the charging of some of those people must continue, because we must find the truth as to why and how did people invade Parliament. And it was because of that that you saw last year that we made a decision in the national security architecture and in our ministry to make sure that in the protest that happened in 2025, Parliament was not accessible. And you saw we barricaded National Assembly and the Senate using razor wire to make sure that nobody invades Parliament. I don't know if such a thing happens in a county. What will happen to the county assemblies? I feel that there is need for us, through this forum here, to imagine and think about the security of the county assemblies, even to prepare ourselves for such scenarios and incidences that may occur in our regions and our county headquarters. We know that there are some instances where county assemblies have been destroyed, their equipment vandalized, and we want to make sure that that is protected. I suggest that the Sergeant at Arms in the county assemblies must have direct contact with the county security team and must have a right to sit in the county security committee at the headquarters of the county, so that at any instance they are already accessing information as to possible threats to security
to the county assemblies at the county level. I also propose the same for institutions of higher learning at the counties, that they must get a representation in the county security committee, so that then we can protect our institutions of higher learning. So there must be a proper link between our county security team led by the county commissioners and the county assembly. You can imagine also the threats that are faced by county assemblies in border counties or counties that are bordering regions that have higher threats of terrorism, among others. It is important also that they always have constant working relationship with the county security team to make sure that the county assemblies are properly protected. So therefore, as I said, these threats are there, and we must all be prepared. We must have the skills. The next thing I wanted to ask is that, and I had asked earlier the clerks, are all of you county assembly sergeant-at-arms, are all of you fully trained in terms of paramilitary training? Yeah? There are some counties that are yet to go through paramilitary training. So that is also another area that if you make the necessary request, we can find ways of ensuring that you get the paramilitary training. I know that some of you have been struggling with the budget. We can agree and see how best we can make it affordable so that you can go to APTC and get the necessary training to ensure that the county assemblies, sergeant-at-arms are properly trained. Can you imagine what you go through in terms of restraining some of the errant county assembly members when a fight ensues? Sadly, the very tools meant to protect us can also expose us. New technology is both an asset and a risk. Artificial intelligence, digital platforms, and interconnected systems can strengthen how we manage surveillance, access, and records. But while this technology empowers us, it also creates new weaknesses. We must harness technology responsibly and put in place strong safeguards before these weaknesses are exploited by criminals. I don't know if you remember, Mr. Speaker, that in our first Senate and Parliament as a whole, there's a gentleman, I don't want to mention his name, who had managed to send messages to all the women members of Parliament, and hoodwinked a number of them using his phone and accessed certain information that unfortunately affected some of the members of Parliament up to now. So we must be alert. Must be alert. I don't know if you know. Let me just say, I didn't know that when a new assembly happens, whether county assembly or national assembly or the Senate, that during the first sitting of Parliament and in the first 2 to 3 months of the county assembly and Parliament, I don't know if you know that there are so many fraudsters that move around Parliament, conning members of Parliament, and many of them have lost money. They just pretend to become strong. Some of them pretend, they tell them there is quick money you can get, you don't need to go through a bank. There is land to be bought, you don't need to go through a lawyer. You know, why do you need a lawyer? The land is here. I don't know if you know that most of the MCAs are suffering because of Shylocks, you know, and most of them are conned within the first 1 or 2 months. Because you are experienced and you are already in the county assembly, it is your duty to protect and warn these members of county assembly. Otherwise, you will be having clients that are unhappy for the rest of the assembly, and they will be fighting physically, and you will have a very hard time. So these are some of the things that you must be prepared to see how to protect even the vicinity of Parliament and the county assembly to ensure that it is safe for officers and for the elected leaders to operate in. Meeting these threats requires more than good training and good tools. It requires institutions that can resist pressure. Resilience must be built into institutions. A resilient legislature is one that continues to function under pressure. whether political, technological, or social. That resilience does not happen by accident. It's built through deliberate investment in people, systems, and leadership. That investment must begin with the people doing this work. Staff welfare matters. The people in this room operate in high pressure, high risk environments. Psychological support, fair working conditions, and professional development are not a luxuries. A supported team is a stable team. Institutions are only as strong as the people within them. Strength at the center also means strength across the country. Devolution works best when national and county legislature are connected. Sergeant-at-arms are uniquely placed to facilitate interparliamentary cooperation, share best practices, and support capacity building at the county level. A structured national network is the right vehicle for this. The Ministry of Interior stands ready to support that network. As the ministry responsible for internal security, we fully recognize the role parliamentary security of parliamentary security in national stability. We remain committed to coordinated multi-agency support and to respect the independence and privileges of Parliament and the county assemblies. The security of our legislature is a national priority. That commitment must also be reflected in how we use this conference. Let us build on the lessons of previous meetings. The first two conferences established shared standards, inter-assembly collaboration, and professional recognition of the Sergeant-at-arms function. This conference must go further. Do not repeat conversations. Build on them. Building on them means translating words into action. Resolutions must lead to results. At the end of these 3 days, I urge you to adopt a practical, realistic action plan. Consensus and standards is critical. I would outlast every one of us in this room. Let us remember that institutions outlast individuals. The systems, safeguards, and partnerships we build today will protect future generations and sustain the integrity of our democracy. Let us invest in them. Wisely. Let us take this work seriously. And let us live here with the commitment and the tools to make a real difference. Before I just make my last statement, let me say that this is very essential. I had said earlier that sometimes some of the things you will do may put you at loggerheads with your clients. But it's important that because of the job you took, you're willing to take certain measures regardless of the consequences that may come. And one such person who stood very firm, so we could not be having the Senate that we have today. The strong Senate we have today required us to take certain serious steps. It included going to court. It included engaging judiciary to understand our mandate. It included standing up to the executive, including the president. And it was important. There were certain decisions that I still remember that we had to make collectively as the Senate, including the current deputy president, who was our majority leader. And it was important to do so. Even us who were working with the executive and were members who were supporting the executive always urged the executive that it was better for them to have strong institutions and that they would still get what they wanted through a properly negotiated process through the institutions. It is important for all of us to ensure that we protect the institutions that we serve in. Don't make it cheap. Don't be ready as a county, the Sergeant-at-arms. Don't just be available to hold a kangaroo assembly, that quickly makes certain funny decisions. I saw in one county assembly, of course, I think the speaker should have taken greater responsibility in that county assembly because he was the one presiding over the house. But don't participate in these schemes. You are being told that the county assembly deliberation should be in darkness. And so you are being told switch off the mic, switch off the CCTV, do this and that, things that eventually make the institution of parliament to be defiled and the institution of the county assembly defiled. You must stand very firm, and that's why I was saying earlier, we must find ways of maintaining and protecting your dignity by law, so that if someone wants to throw away Sergeant at Arms without following the law, at least the law will protect you. And when you go before a court of law, there is a proper legal framework that protects you. And I challenge the framework that protects you. And I challenge the patron here and the county assembly, national clerks here, national parliament clerks, to facilitate a process of strengthening the offices of the Sergeant at Arms in the county assembly. It is now my greatest honor and pleasure to officially declare the third national conference of Sergeant at Arms officially open, and I wish you fruitful deliberations and impactful resolutions. God bless you and God bless Kenya. Asanteni sana.
Thank you, Honorable CS. We are pleased and happy to hear from you. I request, if you have time, sir, if you have time, you could listen to our first presentation being done by none other than the speaker. But if you don't have time, I request that we go for a photo session. The sergeants will go form up very fast and have the pleasure of you leaving at your own time. Thank you very much. So proceed to the photo area, please, very quickly, form up so that we take 1 minute. Even our facilitators are welcome for the photo session. Mr. Maru, tell us when you're ready. Facilitators, you have the pleasure to kuja msalimia waziri. Academia, it is very difficult for them to start in so and so, but I can say myself, I will introduce it. Okay. They shy off from I know this. Once you become high, it's taking it so
David Ekwe Thuro, EGH, EBS, who has been the Speaker Emeritus of the Senate. The Right Honorable Senator David Ekwe Thuro is the former and first Speaker of the modern Senate of the Republic of Kenya, post-2010 Constitution. In 1997, he was elected as a Member of Parliament for Turkana Central Constituency in Turkana District. Then, Turkana now is a county in Kenya that borders Uganda, South Sudan, and Ethiopia. He also served as an Assistant Minister for Labor in the entire 8th Parliament and an Assistant Minister for Planning and National Development in the 9th Parliament. He also served as a member of the Speakers Panel of the Kenya National Assembly, the 9th and 10th Parliaments. During his tenure as a young parliamentarian, the Right Honorable Ekwe Thuro was a member of many committees and chaired some of them. He was a chairman of the Constituency Development Fund, the Internally Displaced Persons, Amani Kenya Forum, and a chapter of the Greater Lakes Region, Bunge Health Club, Catering Committee, and he was a member of the Constitutional Oversight and Implementation Committee, Parliamentary Select Committee on the Constitution, the Budget Committee, the Library Committee, and also the Bunge Health Club. He was a member of the following caucuses: Kenya Parliamentary Network on Population and Development, member of the Parliamentary Caucus on Gender and Children, Population and Development, Information, Communication and Technology, Energy Committee, a member of the Bunge FC, among others. He also played a pivotal role in the establishment of parliamentary caucuses, such as being the founder Secretary General of the Pastoralist Parliamentary Group, PPG, the Kenya Women Parliamentary Association, the Parliamentary Network of Poverty Reduction and MDGs, the Parliamentary Committee to investigate illegal organizations, and the Parliamentary Committee on the Eradication of Cattle Rustling. He actively and successfully midwifed the globally acclaimed Constitution of Kenya in 2010, contributed particularly to framing the robust Bill of Rights and Devolution. He has always brought issues from the back burner to mainstream policy formulation agenda, and these issues include poverty eradication, population development, reproductive health, gender, elimination of female genital mutilation, internally displaced persons, good governance, pastoralism, emergencies, food aid, youth, and rights of minorities and marginalized communities. At the same time, he canvassed robustly issues of mainstream economics, such as agriculture and the East African community. The Right Honorable Thuro is, in his time, served as an active member of the Interparliamentary Union, IPU, and was elected as Vice President of the IPU representing Africa region during the 131st Assembly in Lusaka, Zambia in 2016. He also served as the President of the Forum of the Parliaments of Member States of the International Conference on the Great Lakes region in 2015. He currently serves as the Chairman of the Higher Education Loans Board. Right Honorable Thuro is a master's graduate in MSc Applied Economics from Clemson University, USA, BSc in Agriculture, and LLB Law degree, both from the University of Nairobi. He is also pursuing in his PhD in Organizational Development at the Management University of Africa. Karibu sana.
Afande. Good afternoon. I feel extremely delighted to be here this day, and I see many familiar faces. I did 20 straight years in Parliament, and I interacted with the older cadre of the Serjeant at Arms. And as we remembered Mr. Langat, there is a fellow, I was happy you said, and others. One of those fellows was a guy called Mr. Wendo. That was a professional par excellence. Munacheka naye, those days if Parliament is close in a die, the following day you cannot access Parliament. And you will meet Mr. Wendo, who was laughing with you the previous day, and will tell you have no access. And we understood. And I think what the clerks have said, what the CS has spoken this morning is true. Your professionalism defines this institution. So I feel at home, I feel to belong with friends. And I want to congratulate Bona Clerk and your colleague, for this kind of interaction between the national parliament and the county assemblies, because we owe it to our counties as the institution that was there before they came into existence, in order to interact, maintain that professional discipline and integrity. So my topic today is basically on your mandate. What is your mandate? The constitutional and legal mandate of the sergeant at arms in a bicameral and devolved system. The presentation will be looking at a number of areas. Salutations, which since they've been spoken so loudly in the morning, and in the interest of time, I want to go back. Introductions, which has already been spoken to about the presenter and the topics that I am going to present. Then SAA mandate. Constitutionally, we'll look at what provisions and foundations. How are we grounded in the Constitution? Statutory and institution. And I'm happy to report, when you refer to the fathers of the new Constitution, I am the grandfather. But since Baba used to be Baba, and Baba ya Katiba, I consider myself mimi ni mwana wa Katiba. Then we're also going to look at the tensions, healthy, what we call healthy cohesion. Authority versus rights, obligations, and the duty bearers. And your job is to maintain order in all that mix. Then what are emerging challenges, the strategic importance of your office in these challenges, and with the way forward. In the future proofing, in times of change, and change is the only constant. How are you going to ensure that you are not only dealing with the present, but anticipating the challenges that will come in the future? Then conclusion. Conclusion is just, I'll give you a bit of a pep talk to encourage you. I love the institution of parliament, and I was happy that my aspiration when I went to parliament was to become speaker. One day, not the one that you push so hard, but one day. But because the ultimate pinnacle of a parliamentary career is the office of the speaker. And I'm happy to say I made it. Believe you me, some of you, I will not mention, some of the people who used to encourage me when I was just an ordinary member were members of the Serjeant at Arms. They used to tell me, "Mheshimiwa, hii kitu utapata." And I'm like, you are joking. These things require people from big tribes. These things require this. But there are some of you, I don't know whether because you are the only two people, finally, when you are a speaker and the Sergeant at Arms, you are the only two people in the chamber who are wearing uniforms. But some of you believed in me and used to remind me, hii kitu utapata. I have not repaid you, but you have my prayers and my gratitude. It is therefore both an honor and a privilege to address you today on a subject that goes to the heart of legislative authority and institutional integrity, the constitutional and legal mandate of the Sergeant at Arms in a bicameral system and devolved system. What is our constitutional architecture? What's our system of governance? Because that is where the umbrella. We have the executive, we have parliament, which is bicameral, and we have the judiciary, and then the sovereign. I know you might not think that it is your job to know the constitutional provisions, but I think today every speaker who has gone before me has reminded you to be well grounded. So if there is one article you need to know in the Constitution, you need to know most of them. But if there is one article you want to know, it's Article 1. The power is derived from, and they will exercise it directly or through the following. The executive is devolved, assemblies are devolved, and the only institution that remains unitary is the judiciary. So you must underline the sovereign. in whatever we do, any position you occupy in public office, the moment you remember that there is a higher sovereign power, that the people of Kenya have given you that job, you will never go wrong. The seas must be turbulent, the storms might come, but you remain. There are people who think I lost my job as a speaker because I stood for certain things. I have no regrets. Nene sasa Mturkana kama alifika hapo. Si tumeendelea sana. So in 2010, we gave ourselves a constitution. 67% of us voted for this constitution. And even the small debate that was there, I can confirm to you because I enjoyed the leverage from both sides. It was more political than problems with the constitution. There are those ones who said, there is 20% that is not good. We need to make it 100%. There are those ones of us who said, we have wasted 2 decades. We have lost lives, limbs, resources to give ourselves a new constitution. We must get it. And surely 67% if you go to any school. And I think I'm one of those ones who is literally a permanent learner. Part of the reason I am still learning is because I used to read. And one thing that gives your clients a leverage on the floor is your understanding of the standing orders. When Njoroge was my clerk on the standing orders committees, even when I was an assistant minister, I'm not supposed to be in the committees of parliament. Orengo and I would be called by Banagishoi when there were retreats on standing orders to change the standing orders because they appreciated our understanding of standing orders supported by the clerks. So we came up with a bicameral parliament. It wasn't new. As you hear, those ones of us brag about the first speaker of the modern Senate. Others would say the second Senate. Because at the time we left Lancaster Conference, as a people, we had a bicameral system. Then the Kanu government decided at that time, instead of delaying our independence, let's go home, we'll sort these people. And they sorted us. By 1967, there was a merger. There are those ones who think Senate was dissolved. I call it a merger. Because the Independence Constitution had a Senate and a House of Representatives. After the merger, we became a unicameral parliament known as National Assembly. In fact, the senators those days, and of course by extension, the members of the House of Representatives got a bonus. They were literally bribed. They created new constituencies and they were given 1 more year. Because if you consider the elections is a 5-period cycle, from 1963 May, we should have had it in 1968. So we had them 1969 to allow senators to start campaigning in the new constitutions they were given. We also had a devolution in the form of Majimbo. Regional assemblies, you remember the big debate between Kanu and Kadu. So we brought them back. Sometimes one list, where I like that bit of history, you must realize that we waste a lot of time and resources to do the things that we had actually gotten right. But somehow along the way, we wasted them. Now, many years down the road, after a lot of killings and death, you remember Sabasaba? We are like back to square one. You must always remember your history. So this created a complex constitutional architecture that requires protection, order, and disciplined operation. In fact, before, another person I want us to remember is Peter Castro Olo Aringo. By the time I went to Parliament, Parliament was a branch of the office of the President. And the presidency determined who is the clerk of the House. And if the clerk allowed a bill that was considered not friendly to the state, you know, these days you don't work with radios. In our days, when we used to have transistor radios. Saa saba, you must get to your radio and listen. Habari imetufikia hivi sasa kutoka Ikulu. Unajua umeenda. This architecture of the Constitution was demonstrated in terms of the basic structure of the Constitution cannot be amended in a manner that is not contemplated in the Constitution unless under Article 257. So if you remember the big argument about BBI, why BBI lost it. BBI went ahead to include constituencies. That's not their job. There are many good things with BBI, but the fact that they attempted to change the structure of the Constitution without the provisions provided for under the Constitution, it was dead on arrival. You as officers, your job is to maintain law and order. And at the center of that protection stands the office of the Sergeant at Arms. I've been thinking, you know, why are you sergeants and not corporals or generals? I am still doing my research. So with a bicameral parliament for 7 county assemblies, and you are given the order, the executive authority of the county government is invested in the county executive and county assemblies. This layered governance system requires more than political coordination. It requires procedural discipline, it requires institutional order, and it requires guardianship. That guardianship is where the Sergeant at Arms plays a major role. And for those of you who are there during at the National Parliament, during the 7th Parliament, the Parliament that came after 1992, I was told, because we were part of the Nairobi Peace Initiative, members were not sitting like this. If you are in opposition, you sat somewhere. If you are in government, stories abound that if you are a cabinet minister and you went to a Kinyosi in Hilton, which used to be the preferred place, and the opposition member also comes for a Kinyosi, utatoka hapo hata kama umenyolewa nusu. Things were that bad. But still the office of the Sergeant at Arms was there to ensure that there is order in the way the parliamentary business was conducted. So, what are our constitutional foundations? Although the Constitution may not expressly define the Sergeant at Arms in detail, the office is anchored in the following principles. 1, separation of powers. There is a philosopher known as Montesquieu, and another one called Lord Acton. And I'm sure you know more of Lord Acton than any other person. Power, and absolute power. So that is why we have the principle of separation of powers. And our Constitution says we'll act interdependently, but also interdependent. Parliamentary privilege. You know, executive used to reign on parliaments. Until now, that's why I remember Peter Olo Aringo. We had to create the Parliamentary Service Commission so that Parliament has a commission that can determine its officers, it can determine the remuneration of those officers on its own, not from outside, so that you maintain that privilege. More often, I'm called to talk to the young parliamentarians, and I tell them, you know, Parliament is the only place where you don't need crowds. You need the voters, the crowds, to vote for you. But once you have been voted, on that floor, you can stand alone and move a motion alone. Then you will need your colleagues after you convince them to help you in passing that motion. So it's a good platform. And that parliamentary privilege must be secured by our own officers. Institutional autonomy. I had occasion in Parliament to, during the security bills, we went to Parliament and we realized that the police were around Parliament. And of course, you know, members. Some of them came and said, you know, the dogs, the police dogs are on our case. Others, of course, from government side, and I remember Senator Sang, Governor Sang now, I always remember that one. Then he would crack the joke. Mr. Speaker, you know, some of these people, dogs cannot follow you for nothing. You must be carrying some substances. So would laugh. You grant the members that joke. And then I said, I did not ask for support as the president of this institution, and that I ordered the police to leave us alone. We'll know how to deal with our issues. And I was relying on my sergeant at arms. In the event there would be disorder, we already had our own people to deal with it. And indeed, there was no disorder, at least at the Senate. There had been previous disorder in the National Assembly, caused by senators, according to them. So, one of the things you must also remember, as long as you have something in the standing orders are derived from the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. It is constitutional. So, any office provided in the standing orders that are derived from the Constitution is constitutional. One of the omissions we had in our current dispensation was that we had not provided for the leader of majority in the Constitution. And our friends at the National Assembly were very quick to point out that we are dealing with an illegality in our institution. But we also reminded them, as long as we are provided in our standing orders, which Article 124 allows the Parliament to come up with them, then they are constitutional. So it's good to understand these things. So I won't repeat those details. You can read thereafter. The legal mandate, statutes, parliamentary service legislation, county assembly service legislation, standing orders I've said before. Let me give you another example. I've been both, I've enjoyed the privileges of your offices. I have also been a victim. One time, I had councillors in town from my home. We went to see the Minister for Local Government, the late J.J. Kamodho. And then we had discussions, and he said, let's break this meeting, we meet in the afternoon. So we just walked from Jogo House to Parliament. We are going for lunch. And you are supposed to admit 2. We were 20. So I made a few phone calls because it was just supposed, you are supposed to agree. So I talked to the people, they allowed me. Then it happened that day, the Speaker Olekaparo himself was having lunch in the dining hall, and he actually even came to greet us. Then before the end of that day, 3 journalists are looking for me. News. I have just breached Parliament. I was so devastated because I knew I had followed all the right procedures. Lakini muliniruka bwana. Futukumi. So I had to appear before the Powers and Privileges Committee. And I put my case, chaired by the Speaker Kaparo. I said, but Mr. Speaker, even you are present. So, nilikuwa nimeomba ruhusa tu, but now because you threatened these fellows, there is nothing they could do. At least I was not punished. I think they understood my case. The other one is where I was My daughter was actually visiting from their school, Form 4, and I'm on the floor. I didn't even know they were visiting, actually. And then there was an issue that came, and I stood up and said, I think it was about people dying from Turkana from famine. And the minister said she wanted to visit. It was Waziri Esther. So I stood up and told Mr. Speaker, this government is doing what we call in management, umbwakali. You know, management by wandering around or walking around. You cannot, our government must put principles, systems, and procedures in place. The minister doesn't have to go. One person dead is too much for Kenya. Well, the house was up in arms. I was told to apologize. And I think the speaker had been distracted a bit. It was Farah. So I said I will withdraw the word Kali, but I retain Umbwa, because Umbwa is an acronym. And five other members in HR and management supported me, but the speaker did not want to hear. So I was told to withdraw for a number of days. And of course, my good friends, the Serjeant at Arms, Amri Kitoka hawataki kujua urafiki. But I quoted Shakespeare and I said, Mr. Speaker, sir, you might, I'm willing to go, but as Shakespeare once said, the rose smells are sweet. And I had to observe 3 days of absence. My daughter was there. I called another member to help them buy chai for them. So these are things we suffer. So what is it in practical terms for you? What does that mandate translate? 1, maintaining order during plenary and committee sittings. Extremely important. Enforcing the speaker's rulings. You are the right-hand office of the speaker in terms of maintaining order. You will hear the speaker always saying, order so-and-so, order so-and-so, apologize. I mean, some members, and you know, the House is a bit of, we play politics, if you want to use the word play politics. Sometimes you just want to be heard, even if you know that's not true. You make an allegation, and then you are told that person is not present in the House. You should apologize, and you refuse to apologize. Although for me, I used to tell members, you have made your point. Just apologize and withdraw. We have already heard you. Whoever you wanted to has heard you, but we are not all the same, so some refuse. So at that particular point, then the speaker will invoke the Sergeant at Arms to come and deal with such conduct. Controlling access to parliamentary precincts. Yeah, part of the reason, once you are just from that, you are told you are not only coming to the chamber, but you will not also access precincts of parliament. I suffered that time also for 3 days. I couldn't access my office. Safeguarding the mess. I was trying to get a few videos on that struggle, but since you know these things. The mess is a symbol of legislative authority, both in parliament and also in institutions of higher learning. In the 8th parliament, as a first-time member of parliament, then 2 of my colleagues decided to support the government side. I think it was a budget motion. And then one member decided to remove the mic. Those days we used to have this kind of mics, to throw to the opposition side. Because the 2 members are from opposition, but they decided to work with the government. Since they are not dead, I will not mention them. And so opposition was completely pissed off. Now the main struggle, they forgot even the fight between the members. The main struggle was where? At the mess. Sergeant at Arms will quickly come and make sure that the mess is not taken away. Unfortunately, they were not successful in Wajiri Assembly. Was it Wajiro Mandera? There was one where they put the mess into the toilet. Coordinating security arrangements within the institution is extremely important. These are not just routine administrative functions. They are constitutional functions executed operationally. Now we come with the devolved system, and I think our CS covered it very well. And I want to tell you, actually, part of our success in the first parliament was because of individual members who stood, and he has said it, because we knew why we were at the Senate. Article 96 is to protect counties. Article 94 is about the National Assembly. And then Article 94, 95 National Assembly, 94 is about the entire Parliament. Article 93 is the composition of Parliament. Many times at the national level, we take sides. Me, I deal with Article 96, National Assembly deals with Article 95. Then we forget there is an article known as 94 that has common powers of the national legislature. You must always remind your client that here we serve the legislature. Article 91 says the legislative power is delegated to the county assemblies as well. So each county assembly exercises legislative authority within its jurisdiction, and each has its own sergeant at arms. Yet, the constitutional principles and foundations I've stated above require that we remain uniform at all levels. And I think that is one thing we would like you to take away from this conference. And what are these? I would call them even universal neutrality. Don't take sides. You know, as politicians, we are very good. A lot of information we get from Sergeant at arms, because you are around people. So you want to hear your opponent when we are fighting things about the pecking order at the county level. So tunatuma hebu sikiza watu wamekutana leo wanasema nini. Don't. Remain a neutral officer. At the end of the day, you will be the one to save this nation. Institutional independence. Get your brief. I am here to defend this institution, come what may. Respect for procedure. Has the right procedure been followed in whatever we do? And I'm glad the CS has said, you know, the law must be there to protect you. In fact, Article 27 of our Constitution is very clear about non-discrimination, and that all of us are equal before the law. Nobody is above the law, nobody is below the law. Protection of legislative dignity. Before the office of the Sergeant at Arms was enhanced, we literally had no parliament, as I said earlier. We had no parliament. In fact, I remember in the 7th and 8th parliament, the likes of Agena Mukisa Gitu used to say, because we had a squadron of Jeshi in our basement, so like, what are we doing here? When we started the Senate, you know, they called our chamber at KICC a workshop. And the street was almost like a workshop. And when we migrated to County Hall, and then we migrated, and now where we are, and then I said, you know, it is not because I'm a nomad that we are migrating like this. So legislative dignity has been demonstrated. And I think I've also said, even in public meetings, but even as a former speaker, I still enjoy my access in national holiday ceremonies because of you. Whenever I go there, there will be one with this uniform. But Njoroge, you said green and blue. Somebody will always be there. Eh? And you know, sometimes our young officers do not seem to recognize the fathers of the Constitution. But people from the parliament will always be there to make sure that we get a good place to sit. So our challenge, therefore, is to ensure that there is this coherence across the two levels without undermining our autonomy. Hence, a sergeant at arms in Nairobi, that's the Senate and the National Assembly, and I'm glad that your clerks reported that that cohesion is there. You are all the same. And a sergeant at arms in a county assembly serve the same constitutional ideals, even though they operate under different administrative structures. Professionalism. Part of the reason you see the National Parliament coming up with all these associations, as enumerated by Clerk Nyegenye, is to ensure that that professionalism is always there. I know where we come from, you know, as we become adults, we have families, we have communities, we have ethnicities, we have challenges of life. It's very easy to forget your professionalism. One of the good things about Kenya is the professionalism even in our uniformed forces. That's why we are always invited on peace missions. And we have never disappointed, not even once. That gives you opportunities. That gives the country the stature it requires at the international level. So don't think you are just doing it for parliament alone, for the county assembly alone. You are making a serious contribution to the image of the republic. So your office operates at a constitutional intersection. You enforce order, yet you must respect privilege. You maintain security, yes, you must preserve public access. Our Clerk of National Assembly has enumerated the incidents where Parliament was breached. And there are many, and they are there, including our own on 25th June of 2024. Because some things are beyond you. But maybe, and there is always an objective in the PAC that I like reminding Nyegenye, it is up to the PAC to educate Kenyans on democratic ideals. And I think one of them, even if you are mad with Parliament, you must remember you elected these parliamentarians. Even if you are mad with the executive, you must remember you elected this executive. And we must accord them the respect. Let's tell them that there is a provision in our constitution, Article 204, of recall. You can recall a member instead of breaching the institution, instead of undermining our democratic ideals. Ideals that were protected as a nation for the time we have been around as a republic. You exercise authority, yes, you must remain neutral and proportionate. And I'm really happy, in most cases, I mean, the restraint that the Sergeant at Arms officers, even at the county assemblies level, you will see the professionalism being displayed. You are the people who arrest chairs as if they are anti-ballistic missiles. In moments of political tension, the Sergeant at Arms must embody calm professionalism. So what tension do we have between authority and rights at all levels? The use of force where necessary must always be lawful, proportionate, and accountable. Because every action taken within the principles of Parliament reflects not only on the individual officer, but on the institution of democracy itself. As the Clerk of National Assembly, I say, take the case of the senators being wrapped by the colleagues at the National Assembly. You are put in a very awkward position. Mutatetea nani, mutawacha nani, so nikugawa tu. Just be there katikati. If you saw the case of Ugandan Parliament, there was a time it was really very, very bad. Emerging challenges in a modern parliament. Today you're operating in the most difficult institution. There's a gentleman, is he still around, Bonacla? There's a gentleman who teaches at Strathmore. And he made a brilliant presentation one time in one of our areas. You need to get that kind of information from the technical people. Our friends at the National Defense College and in the military, they're on top of these things. I know most of our bosses in your offices are drawn from such. And I think it helps in coordination. But you must remain relevant. Because change is only constant. You know, we used to talk about VUCA, uncertainty. Change is the only constant. Heightened political polarization. With the technology we have, people can easily mobilize themselves, very easily, just on phone. You know, I just traveled from Ghana, where IPU had engaged me to train their parliamentarians on human rights. And I was relaxing in my house, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing on TV. These young people descending in the city from all directions. I think for us, we are used to knowing a small section comes there, Boniface Mwangi. This time they were coming from all over the place. I lived in fear. I was like, this is not the Kenya, you know. We must be ahead of the game. We must anticipate those kind of things. It takes 1 o'clock, it takes to allow your people time to reflect. And the good thing with assemblies is that you have recess times. At least there's less activity. It means a bit of training. It means networking with other institutions similar in nature in terms of what are the emerging threats at the global level. It means, of course, when you find Israel and USA striking Iran on 28th February, you must also to realize, what do I do? It means COVID. You know, we were lucky a bit as Africa because COVID started in Europe. We saw people falling, so me, I knew, we will all be gone. How do you protect data? How do you protect your institution? How do you secure certain things? Increase public activism. You know, our country is a very blessed country. We know how to talk. From election to election. When I was made the vice president of IPU in Lusaka, the election was that year. And you could, you know, you would go around wanting to hear something. It was quiet, and it was like 6 months ago. But back home, we had left a lot of noise. And ours was supposed to be the following year, or even 2 years. That level of activism has even increased now than ever before. We must be prepared within our space on how to deal with such. Digital misinformation and cyber threats, I've mentioned about that one. Rapidly evolving technological advancement. I was reading an article the other day that China is now doing 10 GB. Have we even reached the 5 GB? We are at 5. So you can imagine the speed. That's one aspect. Other remote areas in this republic. In fact, I was a very chief proponent when we created the Universal Fund under CAK. That since now we don't want those lines that used to deny us access to telephony in northern Kenya, then that's where we should start doing those masks. We must ensure that our country is protected. Expanding public participation. One of the values of our national values under Article 10 is public participation. And any law passed by Parliament, if it is challenged in court for lack of public participation, technical knock-off. So we must appreciate that we must participate, and we have committees to allow them. After the security bills were messy in National Assembly, they were sent to the President, and I wrote to the President. I said, you know, security affects counties. It must come back to the Senate. And when they came, we had to use wisdom. So I called the current Speaker of National Assembly, who was our minority leader. I said, can you talk to Raila? Baba, may God rest his soul in eternal peace. I called Kindiki, the current Deputy President. Mimi na wewe sasa we engage the President and the Deputy, Uhuru then and the current President. In fact, our side was more difficult than Raila's side. Because I asked them, what is your requirement? They had proposed, this is December 2016, they had proposed maandamano, I think around first week of January 2017. I hope I am not revealing any secrets. These are things in the public office. So the Right Honorable Dr. Tangula came back and said Raila is in agreement. So he put him on phone to Raila. So I said, if I take this bill committed to the committee, I hope you will not, I will have sorted your problem. He said yes. So our guys were a bit difficult, but we also managed to convince them. Ile unatupia mkono, haya, hebu mngangane basi. They were not very sure we should do it that way. But I can assure you, I committed the bill to the committee. I asked them for public participation, to do public participation. I made sure that when the report will come, will be a day or so after the day they had announced the demonstration. And you can check your records. For the entire 2017 until after elections, there were no maandamano. Sinipige makofi jamani. You don't have to beba rungu kupiga watu. Just be smart and engage. But then you will be shocked. Human beings just like appreciation. That you recognize them, they feel they are important. 50% of your battles will be down. And I'm sure you know from your many years of experiences. So greater and instant media scrutiny. We are all now under watch. You know, it's no longer fourth arm of government. The media is almost ahead of everybody else. How do we deal with it? What are the challenges in modern assemblies? We continue. We must be legally literate, and this is part of this training. Technically competent, and I think I saw you applauding when we say there must be paramilitary training, so that you know what is needed in your area and sphere of competence. Emotionally disciplined. These days we talk about emotional intelligence. This is no longer your IQ. You can be extremely intelligent, but you are such a jerk. You can't work with anyone else. You must know how to deal with people. Emotional intelligence is extremely important. You remember this picture of the GSU guy during the post-election violence? Yeah? You remember? That guy disarmed the rioters. Say, mnataka kuharibu nchi tumejenga miaka ngapi? He had a gun he did not use, but he just spoke to them to their heart. Didn't that man make a serious contribution to our nation? We must be constitutionally grounded. We have covered a lot of that. So the office of the Sergeant at Arms must evolve, but always within your mandate. And if you find there are things constraining in your mandate, feel free to suggest. You know, I know officers. I am a firm believer that by the way that if I find something is constraining in me, I will make the necessary proposals. When we created the constituency bursary in Parliament, there was no provision for sitting allowance of members of the committee at the constituency level. And some of my colleagues were trying to fiddle around things. I told my committee, you relax, you issue a letter, we write to the minister, and I will follow that letter. And another circular came allowing people to be paid 1,000 officially. So don't sit somewhere there thinking I'm so helpless. You can do something at your level. Don't say I'm a small person, no. You are a Kenyan. And the Constitution, Article 3 again tells you each and every person must defend the Constitution. So when you find your work environment is being constrained, feel free to suggest to your seniors, to your colleagues. During the Kofi Annan times, where there were difficulties in Parliament, and our people were not agreeing. So I belong to PNU. We summoned, we went to room 9, for those ones of you who know the whole Parliament. And we started counting the numbers. So how many people do we need to get to change the Constitution? This number. How many in opposition? This number. We counted how many of us in PNU are willing to join them to change the Constitution. And then we made sure that information is leaked to the powers that be. Then very, very quickly you saw them on the steps of Arambe House, shaking hands and signing an agreement. Because they realized Parliament has decided. So I believe each and every one of us has capacity to change things. In a devolved system, legislative institutions must function cohesively while respecting authority. At the public ceremonies, I've already acknowledged your major contribution to that one, because that is the time now when, like the national holidays when we celebrate, we have all the arms of government, executive, the assemblies, judiciary, and the sovereign meeting. You play a major role again there, but you must maintain the balance. Strategic importance of the office. You are not just merely chamber officials. I think this is just restating what I've said in many other words. You are custodians of legislative authority. You are the protectors of institutional dignity. You are enforcers of procedural order, and you are the guardians of constitutional democracy. In action, yours is real. These are my views as I was thinking about this subject on how do we strengthen your mandate. And I think part of the outcome of this is for you to see how you can strengthen this mandate, to always be ahead of the game, to do things better. One, deepen our constitutional literacy amongst the Sergeant at Arms, harmonize operational standards across legislatures, strengthen protection against political interference, institutionalize continuous professional development, clarify procedural boundaries through updated standing orders, and then professional clarity always strengthens resilience. When you act in a professional manner, even other professions respect you. Conclusion. I say this is just a pep talk. Distinguished officers of the House, in a bicameral and devolved constitutional order, the Sergeant at Arms stands at the center of legislative stability. When debate becomes heated, you preserve order. When tensions rise, you maintain calm. When authority is challenged, you uphold dignity. The Constitution provides the framework, and the law provides the authority. But it is you your discipline, neutrality, and professionalism that give life to this mandate. You have to breathe life. You know, I like the story of Genesis. When God created man from the dust, he breathed life. Just imagine that scenario. I love it. Documents are papers. The law is just written, but it's the actors who make it live. As you gather here to reflect on your constitutional and legal mandate and responsibilities, remember the following. Strong legislatures require strong officers. Again, my favorite Sergeant at Arms was that Wendo man. He was well built, Bwana. Eh? Some of the MPs we have now, they wangeshika tu na mkono moja. You know, the authority radiated from the way he conducted himself. Of course, we cannot all be the same, and we can still play effective roles. Strong officers require clear mandates, and clear mandates require deep understanding of what you are supposed to do. Take a bit of trouble just to know you are tough. I read an article by Obasanjo March 11 in my student days in The Guardian 1979. And I was trying to explain the difference between an African and our colonizers. And he was able to bring out one of the key issues was about confidence. If you are given a job, if you know your mandate, my friend, only God will remove you from there. And I'll tell you this as a living example. I'll tell you as a practitioner, this country has enough opportunities for each and every one of us who means well and who will do our assignment properly. Utapigwa hapa na pale, but you will maintain the course. That is normal. May we therefore continue to serve with integrity, courage, and unwavering commitment to the constitutional, legal, and institutional order of the Republic of Kenya. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much, Speaker Emeritus Ekweturo, for the very good presentation and the kind words. We shall proceed for a quick plenary of about 15 minutes because our next presenter, Mr. Maudo, would like to make his presentation as he has another presentation somewhere else, and so we have held him here. So we shall just go for a quick plenary. I'll receive some questions from the three different rows, and then from there we shall have the next presentation, Mr. Maudo, to come forward to make his presentation. So quickly, by show of hands, those who are ready with questions, please raise your hands for any questions or interjections to our Honorable Speaker. Raise your hands up. Okay, I've got 1, 2, 3. Last one. Any other? So we have 3. So number 1, we can start with you. Please pass the mic. Have somebody want to teach, assist us in passing this mic.
Thank you very much, Emeritus Speaker. My question goes to the separation of powers. You realize that under the County Assembly structure, Sergeant at Arms falls under the Directorate of Legislative and Procedural. But then, under the structure, the County Assembly structure, we report directly under dotted line to the Speaker and the Clerk. Now, my question is, when we are instructed to report under the director or directorate of LNP, what are we supposed to report to them? And when we are reporting to the speaker and the clerk, because that part is not clear. I wish if you could elaborate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think what I wanted to ask has already been asked by the Sergeant of Kisumu. So mine is just to say thank you, Honorable Speaker. I was privileged to meet you when you were coming to Nyandarua. You came when we were starting our assembly, and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm Augustine Dangupai from Samburu. My question is, how can a sergeant at arms protect the legislative dignity of a legislature when he or she is not protected by law? And case in point, I will just give you a scenario that the executive that is now in county assemblies, the governor's side, could interfere or send his security personnel to an assembly to coerce an assembly to do what his desires. So, and to you, you wanted to protect the dignity of this assembly, deter the security personnel of maybe the governor, and so on. What mandate do you have in law? Thank you.
One last person at that end. I saw a hand at that end. Opambe.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker Emeritus. My question falls under emerging challenges in modern parliament. By name, I'm Marco Pondo from Sierra County Assembly. And my concern is, under increased public activism, if you were to be the speaker by the time the Gen Z storm the National Assembly, what will be your best advice to your sergeants to tackle the situation? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Right, Honorable Speaker. Mine was actually to appreciate you finding time to be with us, finding time to speak to us. It was very refreshing listening to you and speaking naturally, sharing your experiences beyond the subject of the day, the coming of the new constitution, the struggles you had, the experience of the post-election violence, and the roles that each person played. It was very refreshing. And the more I listened to you, the more I told myself that we need to take care of our senior citizens, senior state officers, so that they are available to give that knowledge in this forum, in our universities, in our colleges, whenever we call you, Honorable Speaker. So mine is simply a comment for that. And finally, to seek leave, because you are still my speaker, to leave so that I can attend to other matters at the appropriate time. Thank you.
since I think I'm leaving, unless you are not in that burning fire that is consumed Moses Bush, I would ask for your indulgence for a few more minutes so that we conclude together. Because there is a question actually from separation of powers from Kisumu about reporting lines, legislative procedure and reporting to the Speaker and Clerk, which I think you are better placed to respond to. But let me just make this observation. There is what you call authority and then administrative reporting. If you look at our governance of sagas, parastatals, in my case, Higher Education Loans Board, the internal auditor reports to the board his or her findings. But in terms of administrative, reporting to work plans, is still responsible to the CEO. So I will ask Bwana Clerk to elaborate that as some says. Nyandarua, I agree. There were 5 county assemblies that had nothing on the ground. And we had to make a deliberate decision to ask the executive to allocate extra money for them to build their headquarters. And Nyandarua is one of them. And of course, your senator then is one of those people we respect in this republic. He's the originator of CDF, so Engineer Karue, and we were happy to be of help to him. Protect the dignity of assembly, good. That's actually the fundamental question. In fact, if you go back to the history of parliaments and kings, there was a war in England between parliament and the king. One of my favorites is Speaker Lenthal, when the king came to look for 5 members who were misbehaving in the chamber, according to them. And the speaker went on a bended knee and pleaded with the king that I have neither the eyes to see nor the ears, except the will of the house. A good speaker will not allow security members from the governor to come to interfere with the assembly. And I would give clear instructions to my sergeant at arms, keep them off. When government, sometimes executive used to remove security officers attached to certain senators, I would make the ruling on the floor, and I will follow with a phone call, and they will be reinstated. The power of the speaker is too much. You just have to exercise it deliberately. Good question. What would be my role, Sergeant at Arms, when there is a breach of parliament? This is one of the agencies was beyond Sergeant at Arms. That one we needed support from the other security apparatus, because that was not normal. That was something else. For you just need to monitor, and I think this collaboration between Sergeant at Arms offices and the security apparatus out there is completely necessary. It is those kind of occasions that partnership must work. What we don't want is interference in the way you do your business. In 1975, if you may wish to recall, Deputy Speaker Serone and Martin Shukuku were removed from the precincts of Parliament. And the law is very clear. If a member is going to the business of the House or coming from the business of the House, they should not be arrested. They were arrested and taken to detention. Just for saying, Martin Shukuku said, don't kill the Parliament the way you kill the Kanu. And then somebody decided to challenge, ask him to substantiate. Then the speaker agreed with the member and said, why substantiate the obvious? Words are powerful. So, Bwana Njoroge, we worked very well with you, and you have been around So we get excited when we see natural progression within Parliament. And I knew this young man was going places because we worked very well in terms of that parliamentary democracy. So we are available. And I'm sure not me alone, you have people like Ole Kaparo, who stood firm. You have Speaker Marende, one of my favorites. And I'll tell you a story. Speaker Marende asked me for his vote. I refused to give him the vote. He asked me, you're not sending emissaries. Then when he became the speaker, everybody told him, Mekwe must be a member of the speaker's panel. But the standing orders were allowing a maximum of 3. We changed the standing orders in order for me to be accommodated. So when I tell you I know what I'm talking about, I know what it means. Asante sana. Maybe Njoroge on the reporting.
Simameni juu tafadhali, Mpambe. Thank you.
Thank you. Be seated. Let me attempt to respond from here. Distinguished Mpambe from Kisumu, you asked a very important question about conflict. And the structure probably of what would be the ideal structure that a sergeant at arms is supposed to report to the speaker, the clerk, and in your case also your line is under DLPS, the Directorate of Legislative and Procedural Services. And that is food to my ear because I've been a director for LNP for some time. I've been in Parliament for this is my 24th year. Now, I tell you this. The administrative head of institution of Parliament, of a county assembly, is a clerk. So that even when the speaker gives instruction, sergeant at arms remove that member. Who is being instructed? The officer of the clerk. It's the officer of the clerk being instructed. Therefore, the responsibility, the ultimate responsibility lies with the clerk. Because there are certain functions, there are certain instructions that will follow thereafter. When you are sent out for 3 days, an allowance ought not be paid to you. If you are traveling out of the country that evening, even though the clerk has not been instructed, you have been sent out and the instruction went to the sergeant at arms to remove you. If a member was traveling out of the country that evening, so that member is a stranger. Right? The instruction to the clerk is cancel the air ticket. Cancel the travel because a House of Parliament and Assembly should not be represented by a stranger. Right? Therefore, it follows that even though the instruction to you, the instruction is the chief sergeant, to the sergeant at arms, the unwritten instruction is to the clerk. And therefore, the reporting should be through the clerk. In your case, going now to second part, so let me emphasize that it will be so awkward that a chief sergeant at arms is reporting directly or giving feedback directly to the speaker without involvement of the clerk. You have no assembly. You have no legislature. Because that is where conflict starts. You lose nothing by sharing information. You lose nothing by doing that. I have sat in places where, in absence of a PS, instructions are given to a director in a ministry by the president. And the president will not tell the director, report to me through your PS or your CS. But common sense requires that you follow the hierarchy. And you lose nothing when you do that. In fact, you gain a lot. Because when you share ideas, when you share problems, you know it is said that only a fool knows everything. Only a fool knows everything. You'll be very foolish to think that you are the only one who knows the answer to a certain problem. In your case, currently, you indicate that you report the sergeant at arms is under Directorate of Legislative and Procedural Services. Right? Is that it? same level, or sergeant is below director? Below director. I would, my advice is, don't fight over it. It doesn't matter, so long as each one of you is doing their job. Even in the case of National Parliament, the Chief Sergeant at Arms is below Deputy Clerk. Right? In the case of National Assembly, Chief Sergeant at Arms is under Deputy Clerk, one of the Deputy Clerks, because there are two in the National Assembly. In the Senate, same case. So they report to the clerk through a Deputy Clerk. So it's the Chief Sergeant at Arms, a Deputy Clerk, and then the Speaker. So it breaks no bones, and you shouldn't worry so much about structures. And finally, I said earlier that houses of parliament, county assemblies, they are living arena for power, conflict, struggle, and ideology. It is better when debate, when disagreement, when ideas are exchanged in parliament, in a county assembly, than in a funeral, than when people go to the street. The best forum is a parliament, it's a county assembly. That is a forum. So our responsibility is to provide that forum so that people can disagree, exchange ideas, sometimes heated, without having to fight. And when we do that, pressure eases. It is possible that sometimes the ideas being exchanged are against your views, or against your region, against the party you voted for, because at the end of the day you voted for a party. What we should do is always to remove ourselves from it. I tell colleagues in public service PSs that I serve in a place which has the highest concentration of political power, 349. Highest concentration. Therefore, the highest concentration of diversity, because each one of them represents different people. And they believe they are right, because you are elected by the people. My role is simply to facilitate them to exchange ideas, to listen to all of them. And when we do that, as clerks of houses of parliament, as sergeant at arms, members of parliament, members of county assemblies, have more confidence in us. Sometimes we even become, our offices are places for, call it what? Conflict resolution, mediation, and simply psychosocial support. Because people have differences. You bring one, listen to the other. At the end of the day, then you call them. You facilitate them to travel together. When they come back, they are best of friends. You encourage one to attend a bereavement of a family of the other. And people, I mean, we mend fences. And that is our role. Now, you gave an example, and I think, Right Honourable Speaker, you've responded to it. What is a sergeant at arms to do when a governor sends their security men to a county assembly? Brother, I feel for you, because that ought not happen. That shouldn't happen. Because democracy takes time to grow. Mr. Speaker, you remember 2013, our houses of parliament, we had a lot of differences between Senate and the National Assembly. Each parliament, since 11th parliament, each parliament gets better and better. People mature. A person who was a member in the Senate becomes a member of National Assembly. A person who was a senator becomes a member of National Assembly. A person, then both of them eventually meet sometimes in the cabinet. Another one becomes a governor. Others lose, because when you're out there, you see things a bit. Others become speakers of county assemblies, the places they looked at differently. And we mature. Be patient. Be patient. By the time we are getting to the 5th, to the 6th assembly, it's possible things will have settled down. Your role, document what happens, writing your story is very important, and how you resolve it. doctrine do with the other situation, with the next situation. The incidents of, allow me to speak about it, Right Honorable Speaker, of June 25th, 2025, it's one that I would personally wish we can forget, but will keep recurring. And I'm a champion of collaboration, because we say Parliament is independent, but do we make money? Do we collect revenue? Do we give ourselves security? We get this from other arms of government. We say judiciary is independent, but judiciary does yet to judges offer themselves security, so that when a judgment is made that you shouldn't hire security officers, and then the following day, with a lot of respect, the bench expect police officers to come and give them security, and you had said yesterday that they shouldn't be hired. So we must collaborate as institutions. There is independence between a county assembly and the executive, but you meet somewhere. You are one county government. Remember, a county government has the executive and the assembly. At national level, we are one country. We are one state. I am for collaboration, and I'm happy to see our colleagues, good friends from the university, including our defense university, because we are, at the end of the day, we are one state. We are one country. We must depend on one another. Nobody is dependent of the other than in a textbook. Right Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. And colleagues, thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk, for those remarks. Colleagues, let us stand and give a good clap to Honorable Ekwe. We shall do it the Kanu way. And we shall begin. Moja, mbili, tatu. Bwana Ethuro, asante kwa mawaidha. Tumeshukuru. Karibu sana tena kwa bunge letu na kwa bunge la makaunti. Tumeshukuru. Fungua. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, without much ado, I will proceed to the next session because the presenter will be leaving shortly. And I will introduce a presenter, Dr. Bright Gameli Mawudo. He is a pioneering cybersecurity and blockchain intelligence leader focused on shaping Africa's technology landscape. As the founder of Africon, he advances the continent's security infrastructure through capacity building and expert community development. He holds a PhD in IT, convergence and application engineering with information security specialization from Pukyong National University, South Korea. Dr. Mawudo serves on prestigious advisory boards, including the EC Council Global, CyberSafe Foundation, and the USIU ICT Board. With over a decade of cybersecurity experience, he specializes in security strategy, resilience, penetration testing, and blockchain intelligence. A seasoned speaker at 417 plus technology conferences, he has worked with organizations like the Dimension Data, Stock Entity, and Cellulant, implementing cutting-edge security systems to safeguard critical business environments. So Dr. Mawudo will be making a presentation to us. Please, let's begin before we finish his presentation, then we can proceed for lunch after this presentation. Just begin and let's see what he has for us. Dr. Mawudo.
Good afternoon. Sure. I'll try to keep this. I'll try to keep it as short as possible, but also engaging. My name is Dr. Bright Gamele Maudo. I wear many hats, and thank you very much in writing on all protocol observed. A few other things that I do as well. I'm a senior advisor to the Attorney General of Kenya. I'm helping when it comes to technology matters and when it comes to technology thinking and being able to do that. I also practice Kung Fu, so I try to be in a physical security space as well. So if you want to fight me, I think we can step outside after this presentation. So I want to talk about technology and questions when it comes to cybersecurity or cyber resilience. A lot of us who are here don't even know you're being hacked or you have been compromised before. And I want us to be able to see what are the ways that we can actually get to secure ourselves. What are the ways that we can actually start thinking differently when it comes to security matters in the technology space. So our reputation and relationships, they rely on technology. Our privacy rely on that. Our peace of mind rely on that as well. Do I get an agreement on that? Because right now, if you're getting hacked, which some of you don't even know is been happening as we speak right now, as you're all connected to the Wi-Fi, you have no idea what you're connecting to, do you? Hello? When you came blindly, you connect to all the Wi-Fi you can think about. So I wanted to just raise your hand or respond if anything has happened to you. You have used the same password multiple times, right or wrong? You've connected to a public Wi-Fi, like the one you connected to right now without knowing, right or wrong? And if you see the room right now, Pridin Plaza is the Wi-Fi, right? If you check the Wi-Fi, I'm going to create a new one called Pridin Plaza. Well, I would have done this earlier on a few hours ago, but if you check your phones right now, there's a new Wi-Fi hotspot that is in a room that you have no idea about. The most likelihood that you're going to connect to the fake Wi-Fi or the free one is very high. It's about 80% or 90%. It's a bit hot here, so allow me to be able to roll my sleeve. Yeah. So that Wi-Fi has been created just a second ago, and if you all connect to it, that means I can see everything you're doing. I can see what you're connected to, what is going through your phone, what is going through your laptop. No one is connected to it yet? Don't worry, just connect to it. There's no harm, right? You click on an email and then later or WhatsApp message, and then you know how those WhatsApp message comes saying, why don't you just click on this and join a promo? Or, you know, there's a cryptocurrency. A few of you have joined, gladly. Thank you. It's nice because with that, this phone is a whole replica of my entire laptop. So everything I can do on my laptop, I can do with my phone as well. And with this, I'm able to see where you're going to, websites that you're going to. If I didn't serve you internet now, if I should serve you internet, you actually will be happily browsing whilst I get to do a lot of things on your network. We always post things online and we regret that we have posted it and we actually ignore software updates, right or wrong? Updates come and the first thing we do is to click on that. I will install it later because you're always in a hurry to be able to get to the next thing. But let me tell you something. The digital space right now, the things that we are seeing are actually going to affect us in ways that we can't even imagine. So just the way you lock your front doors, for the kind of work you do or the kind of space you do, I don't think you need to lock your front door. You're strong enough, right? But in cyberspace, you're actually going to actually face a lot of details. And now where we come to things like AI is where things are changing. And I'm going to show you the power of AI. AI right now is gaining a voice and a face, so do cyber criminals. Whenever you're thinking that you are speaking right now in front of me, when I came, I took my glasses, which are in my bag, I took a picture of all of you. That picture can zoom into your face and I can replicate you as a person and make you say anything that I want you to say. It doesn't cost too much. I wish I did that before, actually. It's very easy. And let me show you an example of some of the things or how it will look like. So I taught a video. This video you're seeing right here is AI generated. That's not a real human being. If there was sound, you would have heard it. She's completely AI. If you zoom in, the lips sync. The lips are actually real. The face, the texture. Do you think this is AI? You can be fooled by this anyway. I'm actually scared for elections next year because now during elections, somebody is going to take a picture of a parliamentarian and say, they said this, right? This is why we need to be very careful as to what do we consume. Hello? Because a lot of fake news is about to go there. And I'm going to show you how things can be faked. Anything can be faked. Any website can be faked. Any document can be faked. Any detail can be faked. But the first thing we do when we get documents and images, what do? We forward. Right or wrong? So all of you here are custodians to be able to prevent some of this from happening. I'm going to show you how easily it is to fake anything online. Even your email. Can I send an email from you? Yeah, I can send an email from you to him and it will come with your picture. As you. Oh, it's very easy. It takes 10 seconds to do that. Can we try that? Oh, great. People are still connecting, looking for internet. Guys, you can stop now. Let me exit before people end up finishing their own bundles without knowing. So yeah, there are ways to be able to detect some of these things. And the fact that AI is getting to a way, there's a time when a Japanese company was doing an acquisition. So that acquisition, the CEO sent an email saying, these are the bank accounts you should send the money to, right? We don't have to send 35 million to one account, so send it to multiple accounts. The CFO, knowing that CEO and the COO have traveled, and they are at a conference in Germany, he decided to actually say, no, I don't think this email is real. Can you get on a Zoom call to get their approvals, right? And for the structure they have, they're able to allow that happen. So they got on a call. The CFO was the only real person on that call. Everybody else was fake. Voice was the CEO. Voice was the COO. He had no idea. The U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio's voice was actually cloned and being used in a how do you call it, in a propaganda at a point in time. So AI is here to stay to be able to do this, guys. But when it comes to the physical space, the space that you all live in, AI, the technology tools that can be able to do things you can't even imagine. I have all of these tools. I walk with them everywhere I go. I walk through the airport, and I have them here. I carry them in my bag. Let me tell you what they do. The Hack 5 kit is able to do hacking of wireless networks. It's able to do a hacking of USB drives that are fake. So when I plug that USB drive in your laptop, I'm able to type anything on your laptop without your knowledge. What I mean is I can be able to say, disconnect from the original Wi-Fi, connect to a fake Wi-Fi that I'll create for you, and download a malware to your laptop that anytime you want to restart your machine, no matter how many times, I will get access back to it. The Crazy Radio does a similar thing, but only hacks your laptop through your wireless mouse. So with your wireless mouse and wireless keyboard you use can be manipulated to be able to actually type stuff on your laptop. The OMG cable does a similar thing. This will look like your normal typical cable, right or wrong? Right? I know we don't have time, so I can't pass it around. But when I plug this to, you know how you go to coffee shops and somebody says, could you charge my phone for me? I know majority of you will say yes. Because when you actually plug it in, you can see the phone is charging, right? But if you check your wireless phones right now, your Wi-Fi hotspot, there's a new hotspot that has been introduced to the room called OMG. Check it out. Can we see? So the OMG that has been actually put there is basically to be able to make sure that, I want to try something else. The OMG is a new hotspot that I only have the IP address to it, and I'm the only person who also has the password. I can type anything on this laptop so fast that the person on this laptop will not be able to tell. So disconnecting this, the OMG Wi-Fi gets to be disabled. Same thing, this called the Flipper Zero. The Flipper Zero is the most powerful tool I can ever imagine. If law enforcement is not having this tool to experiment with, then there's a problem. If military is not having this device to experiment with, then there's a problem in this country. Because this, I can put off the AC, I can put it on. Even your phones. How many of you have iPhones right now? Just raise your hand, don't worry. So iPhone users usually feel they're the most important people in the room, right or wrong? Hello? Am I lying? No, come on. Have you ever been in a place where iPhone users, they take out their phones to show you? Yeah, so iPhone users, take out your phones. And if you look at your phones right now, there's a possibility that I am forcing some of you to get pop-ups on your phone. Can you see? It's telling you to connect to some TVs and everything. Great. Now, what I want to do is I want to count the number of people in this room. So I'm going to force everybody onto a Bluetooth mode that your phone automatically will force to connect to my Bluetooth device. So when I want to do that, I will say, I want to see how many of you have smartwatches. All of you, right? Now, with the tool that I just ran right now, you can't even see anything on your screen. But I can now see the number of devices in this room. Now, if I had time, I don't have time to show this because there are other demos. I could have actually forced you to actually connect to me by force, and anything you say on that table, I can be able to listen to you. So far as you're within Bluetooth range. Hello? Hi? So there are 126 devices, and all of you are being forced to connect to Bluetooth because of this little device. You have no idea. Your watches, your phones. So Bluetooth, in an area where somebody wants to compromise you, can use such a device. Are we together? Hello? I've not started presenting yet. No. I've just... So these are the kind of things we have. So these devices basically are available to be purchased. Anybody can be able to purchase. So we need to have, this can clone car keys, this can clone RFID tags. So when I have all RFID tags from my offices, I clone all of them so I'm able to actually replicate them without necessarily walking with them everywhere I go. You can brute force doors which have RFID tags, but you need to actually get the right key. You can do that. You can have universal remotes, so TVs, projectors. If we finish, we can put up this projector that we have here with this device. Majority of them, even cars, most car keys have been, there's a reverse engineered version of this where all of those car keys can be modeled that you can actually open cars. One of my colleagues is not here today. He's called Fraser. I usually clone his car key. I have a copy of his car key. He has no idea. So every time he's away from his car, it's the easiest way I can copy his car key. Because the signal is not talking to the car at that point in time. Right or wrong? Hello? This is a thing that a lot of people do. I'm not the only one. But they say amateurs hack systems, professionals hack people. What do they mean? We put our names everywhere. Both our names we signed on what? Papers. The paper that was going around today, I really was looking for emails to pick up because that would have been the easiest way to actually compromise you. Your full names give us details. Your username gives us details. Your IP address. The cookies you accept every day on those pages. What do you think they do? So let me explain to you what a cookie does, okay? A cookie is an amalgam of every browsing moment whenever you are going to a website. You go to a website like, which website do you go to a lot? Pardon? What did you say? LiveScore. So LiveScore. So why do you want to find out which games? The ladies will go to Shop Zaitu, right? And you want to buy shoes. So when you select the shoes, the brown and the black and the green and the whatever shoes you want to buy, all of that aggregates, or when you log in with the username and password, that moment of browsing is called a session. Are we together? That session contains cookies, your password, your moment of browsing. And if the website is not designed properly, anybody who gets the grab of that cookie can log in as you. Are we together? That's how your Facebook and Instagram accounts get hacked. That's how your WhatsApp gets hacked sometimes because of your connection to Facebook. People have codes that we don't even have yet. Are we together? Hello? I've not presented. This is just introduction. And I know I don't have too much time, so I'll do that quickly. So emails have a lot of details about us. Location details. We are always blaming the Safaricoms and the Telecoms and Airtels to be able to track us. It's not. There are easier ways to be able to hack you because we can track you to up to 10 meters of where you are just because you click on a link. It's very easy to do that. And the tools are open source. Anybody can take them. Anybody can do them. Then the phone number, date of birth, your facial recognition. The picture could have been used somewhere that you have no idea about. Do you know that? So we try to find ways. So I'm going to walk you through the mindset of a hacker, exactly what we can do to see how does a hacker think like. I will not do all the demos, but I'll do enough for you to just be aware. Is that okay? because I'm already an hour late to another presentation. So the first thing any hacker wants to do is to be able to use Google. Google is so powerful that even a simple code like this, when I put it onto Google, is able to give me the live location of a camera that I don't even know I'm supposed to get access to, just by Googling. And this is that's somebody's page. Now, others like this is able to give you live cameras or location of cameras in almost every country. These are cameras in people's warehouses. These are cameras in people's offices. These are cameras on people's backyards. And you're actually able to log into all of them and control the camera even. So this even gets to cameras. Some of them, the one we just popped up right now, that's possibly a hotel. And it's on Google. Google is able to say, if you say site KE, file type, and says salary, this basically says go to every .ke website, any Microsoft Excel sheet that has the word salary in them on the website, give it to me. So Kisii County budget for 2020 gives you some of the details such as this. Okay, salary details are there. Maybe it's not confidential, maybe it's the public data. However, for the fact that I know this is 2020, 2021, I can do what we call phasing, which I want to basically say, what are the other files which are there, which is 2022, 2023, 2024, and I can put the day as what? Any other month. Hello? So it's just basically Googling. Google can say if you want to find out things that have to do with, say, surveillance, right? So there are people who have files which have surveillance codes. So if you're wondering how all of this Iran war that are going around and everything, some of the codes are just in a text file which are lying all over the place. And people have passwords in files which has to do with the word password and surveillance. Are we together? And this is, again, publicly available. I'm not doing any hacking. This is important. These are all details that can be found. So people use Google to be able to find that. But when you want to hack a company, you have to hack a company and people. You go to things like, say, hunter.io. These websites get you information about certain people and what do they exactly do at the company. Mostly used by marketing agencies, but even you can use that to be able to actually fetch information about who worked in the organization, what do they do, what position do they hold, and what can you actually talk to them about. Can I get a sample company? Safaricom is boring. Everybody, that's the first name I always get. Anything else? Better? EABL. Great, thank you. So let's say EABL is showing EABL, East Africa Breweries, and it says that 551 emails, and it tells you who the executive directors are in IT. So if I get IT, I can see who actually works there and their email address as well. Okay, this is a free version. I'm not even paid for it. The reason why you do such a thing is because you want to understand exactly what positions exist and what can you send them to be able to give you information. Because to be hacking you, I only need to actually get you one thing to click, one file to download, and I can get access to you. But you see, if I hack you and I ask you any question about everybody here, you'll give me that information, right or wrong? Because you are trusted. You're in the same uniform. You trust each other. So computer hackers just need to hack one person in a room to hack the whole company. So we do such things to be able to find out details about a particular person or in the organization. There are way many other tools that can be able to do this. If I go to this, can I get another company? Let's say kplc.co.ke, right? If I want to find out every KPLC email, it's not rocket science, because with this, I'm able to find out what? All the emails that exist for KPLC. Hello? Oh, this is public information again. No, it's not hacking. It's just using tools that are able to aggregate. But when you fetch such things, you're able to actually know, who do I want to compromise there? You can use LinkedIn. There are codes for LinkedIn to be able to fetch that information out. But this gives me a great lot of targets to be able to fetch that information. Other ways to be able to do this is to fetch information about specific people. So people part of things is really important, because when you hack a person, you actually use that person as an avenue. May I borrow a Gmail account? This is why nobody gives me, but it's okay. Let me try. A Gmail? These tools would have been expensive to run for you, so I'm doing you a favor. Anyone? Volunteers? Pardon? How do I spell it? A-M-A-Y-O, George, O-R-G-E, yes, 01 at gmail.com. Great. So assuming I pick this email, is the mic working? Okay. This is one. Can I get another one? Okay, I have one I use for experiments because I know people will never give me. So, if I get this, there are tools that are able to find out details if this is him. So, if I say, am I? This tool is saying, go fetch. Fine. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's there. So this will go. Keep working. The other tools that I can be able to use is a tool called. A little bit of money for it. You're able to actually fetch details. Don't worry. We're not. You. Get the mic. Thank you. Great. So this website is called Have I Been Pwned? I'll share the list of commands with you, so don't worry. You don't have to remember all of them, because I know it's impossible to you to write all of them down. This says that Amayo George has not been compromised on a third-party website. Are we together? But if I run this against my own email, somebody somewhere has compromised me on a third-party website. That doesn't mean I was hacked. It was the what? The third-party website. I want to get somebody else that doesn't look like a staged. Can I get another person? Yes. Got somebody at the back. Pardon? Kigali. Like Kigali, Alan at gmail.com. Please check the screen if that's the way. That's the one? Okay. So let's see if Kigali has been compromised before. One. That one breach is enough for me to fetch information about him. So let's do a little bit of digging against Kigali Alan. So Kigali Alan, we want to find out who is he as well, details about him. I'll supercharge to use a few credits here because it's worth it. So the first part of things was Amayo George. This tool maps out everything about Amayo George in a very visual format that I'm able to find out details about you, who you are, where you have been mentioned. There isn't much that is here. Let's see if we can find out about Kigali Alan. This will map out. So it just states details about you. So where you have been mentioned, if there's any picture of you somewhere, it's taking some time to load. So a tool like this tells me Kigali Alan has multiple usernames. Usernames such as Kigali Alan 83, Prettiest Rhythm. It's nice to know who he is and get to see the first time he registered his email. The last time I saw him, the last time he actually logged into his email was what? Yesterday. That information is good enough for me to be able to send Alan something that will entice him to actually click on a link. Saying, Alan, your password has been compromised. I would like to get you that information. And I can map out his entire life properly on a visual dashboard to be able to dig through his details very nice and easy. And it gives you details about places he has been. Alan, if you want to dig down to where you have been sometime, I will not zoom in because those are private. Well, it's not private, it's public. But anyway, I will not show because that can tell us everywhere Alan has been, everything Alan has been talking about, some places, and pictures about him. Now, even these pictures, I want to verify if Alan is who Alan is, right? So I will use a tool called PimEyes to be able to do a reverse image search. You can do this for yourself as well. It's really important because there's a lady who was getting calls in the morning and phone numbers being texted her. She's like, why are people calling me? Not knowing ex-boyfriend leaked out her pictures on an escort website. The only way we could actually find out was using this tool. So I'll use my face to be able to do a reverse image search. Where has the bright picture been used? Where have I been ever mentioned? Somebody has used my picture somewhere. Somebody has mentioned me somewhere. And you're able to actually find that information out. Again, all of these tools, they're either cheap or they're free. I'm using a free version of this. So I think you should also use this to find out where even a doppelganger of you could have been used. In the age of AI, somebody could be replicating your picture somewhere that you have no idea about. But, you know, Alan, we need to find out which password or what's your phone number. So for the fact that Alan has been compromised before, I am very sure his phone number should not be that difficult to find. Now, I have automated this process before, but Alan, that's your phone number. Right or wrong? That's your phone number. Or you can't see. 0704-602-610. Awesome. So your phone number can be gotten. Now, with that, I can actually get to map out your entire life to know where do you live, where do you frequent, where do you drink, where do you eat. All of those information are important to hackers. And also, if I get to know what Telegram group you are in, even better for me. So let me show you how Telegram is so powerful. We built a tool to be able to do intelligence because I'm getting worried about some of the Telegram groups doing malicious activities. So my team and I, we do a lot of research. We're an R&D team. We built a tool to study Telegram groups. I'll show you a sample of one because we want to find out what do people post, when do they post them, what time do they go on that file, what files do they have, what intelligence can we fetch from them, which other platforms are they part of, and most importantly, what is the relationship they have. So with this, I'm able to map out every single person in that Telegram group, how often they post, what are the Telegram groups they got in. The other day we're doing this, we ended up in a kidney selling group in Kenya. Yes, illegal kidney selling. Right here in Kenya, they're selling for 200,000, $500,000. Some of them, this is premium, 1.5. And I'm like, that's the life we've been living. And these guys are in normal groups that we find them every day. If you look at the entire profile, they are in an everyday person in an office. They go to work. That's the kind of things we're doing. Once we have all this information, I can now see if I'll be able to force an email from Alan to somebody else, to you. Alan, do you have your phone there? Do you have your phone to check your email? You can check your email, or Alan? You don't have to check right now. So I will force an email from Kigali Alan to myself. What subject do we put? I'm going to send it to me. I want to show you on the screen. Subject, lunchtime. Kindly make sure you have the voucher for lunch. I'm doing this very fast, so it might go to spam. There are other times that it might be Kigali Alan sending the email, but every time he wants to reply, it goes to who? Amayo George. This happens a lot in procurement processes. So a procurement office's salesperson from one company sends an invoice to what? Finance or procurement of another. When they reply, sales is never getting it. The hacker is getting it. So I'm going to get Alan again to send an email. Oops, sorry. The reply to email is Amayo George. Sorry, let me just do this again. Sender is receiver is me. The reply to is who? Amayo George. This happens a lot in these cases. Subject is invoice for today. Kindly find attached the invoice for processing. So that is there. We basically can see that happening. Oh, did the picture come out? Yeah, this. Oh, by the way, this is the reverse image search. So if you do this for yourself, You find out there are so many pages have my picture. I don't even know some of them. There are way too many out there. So this is a way to find out where your picture has been used, because you never know. Sometimes it's good to clean up your entire profile with that. If we go to check the email right here, let me refresh. This might go to spam most probably. Let's check the spam. It will eventually come through. But that's how it will be so easy to be able to actually impersonate somebody. So when it comes through, that's how people get to impersonate you and the details out there. All of these can actually be automated, because a tool like this, let me just show you. A tool like this, again, if our intelligence agencies are not having such a tool, then there's a problem. Because this can map out somebody's entire life according to social media platforms and everything at one go. It's called Maltego. And this, from my phone number, is able to show you anything and everything about me. Who am I talking to? What are my social media profiles? Where is there any picture with a baby in it? You can be able to profile somebody. All of these details, it maps them all out on a big screen. Now with this, you should be able to actually automate the processes to even fetch out particular details that you're looking for in the kind of work you do. So these are just some of the things. Like I said, I could go on for the whole day, but I know I can't leave you without telling you how to protect yourself, right? So the first part of things is that the phones we get, we have a lot of phones, and every time we go to the phones that we download apps, what happens? We always accept access to call log, access to SMS, access to what? Phone book. What are those getting? So one of the betting companies, no, a loan company in Kenya, I happen to find the data, and let me show you some of the things they are getting from you. So what the phone data they're getting is the fact that they pick up everything from your phone. Everything. Pick up a random number. Any from here. 181, thank you. 181 has one device, and if you see this, we can actually see. I hope this is not being broadcasted. Well, this is public anyway. It shows you long time graduation kuna space. This is people's entire details out there. So that's what they collect about you. They collect those details. They collect your details when it comes to SMS logs, your phone logs. There are other details, but I can't show the others, which I wanted to show you, which I picked up from one of the systems. So there are apps that are not created properly. So when I log in as Bright, and my phone number is 07 this, and my email address and password, I can fetch the details of the next person and the next person. Now, if you automate that, what do? You get almost a national database, right or wrong? Yeah, but the cameras are on, so I can't show you that detail. I wanted to show you one really important one, but cameras on cannot allow me to do that. Now, ways to protect yourself. Please, if you forget everything I've said today, at least remember this one. 2-step verification. Enable that on your email, because your email is the base of everything. Your banking account is your email. Your M-Pesa details is your email. Your WhatsApp recovery is your email. Everything about your life is to what? Your email. So please at least secure your email by having 2-step verification, but with what? With Authenticator. The Authenticator is an app on your phone which you can download. If you check the settings of your Gmail, this Authenticator will guide you on how to set it up. Please set it up so that you don't what? Ever lose access to your phone. Even if I steal your password, I can't log in. Or if I log in, I have to get Authenticator, which the code is changing every 1 minute. But you know how Kenya is, or other countries. You might lose your phone in a foreign land. How do you get back in? There's something we call, let me use Google for now, Google Backup Code. The Google Backup Code is basically to say, every time you even lose access to your laptop, phones, you've been robbed, anything, these backup codes will be able to actually get you back into what? Your email. Hello? Remember, the 2-step verification is available for WhatsApp. It's available for Instagram. It's available for X. It's available for Facebook. If you don't set it up, you will not be able to have access to your emails again. So set this up. If you ever feel you have been hacked, somehow you feel, I don't know, I've been compromised, I've been hacked, please just clear what you call what? clear, cookies, and cache or cache. I'm not expecting you to know what that is. So when you go to the top right corner, you go to the settings, and then you just look for cache or cookies. This will basically help you to disconnect the hacker from wherever moment you are in. Can I repeat? Okay. You feel you've been hacked, you don't know what's up, you can get out of the internet. You go to the top right corner of your browser, even if it's your phone, go to what? Settings, and you look for what? Cache or cache. And you delete everything in that. So when they say delete, you can delete all the history. That way, the browsing moment you have, your session is not connected to the hacker anymore. Are we together? So please, that's all you do. Other thing is, if you look at how strong is my password, I know the typical password we all put is what? We put something like, say, Amayo. Let's say Amayo George. Let's say George is the password. Or George 2026. The slowest computer in the world will take approximately 1 day to hack that. That's the slowest computer. Remember, we have now quantum computing. So the slowest computer will take 1 day. But look what happens when I put between George and I put a space. The space is not considered a character. That is why when they put George and they put a space, you basically turns 1 day to what? 11 years. Are we together? So if a password is now, say, Amayo George, and I put the capital A capital G, 2016 is very secure. And then I put 2 exclamation mark. Now that password is the one that is what? To take 19 quintillion years. I don't even know how long that is. So put a space in what? Your password. Hello? So those are some of the basic things. So make sure you actually run some of these tools against yourself. If you run some of the tools and you find out your information is out there are ways to be able to actually delete them. One of the websites is called Join Delete Me. It's really important to be able to actually run it on this website to know how to remove your data from third-party websites. There's another one called Optory. I'll put them all in the presentation, so don't worry. You can get it from the team. And the last one is called Incogni. So those are some of the details of being able to find out there about yourselves. You need to be able to actually just clean up your data, your browser details every now and then. Please, 2-step verification for your email, for your WhatsApp, which is what you use every day, for your Telegram, for your Instagram, whatever it is, activate those at the very least, if you forget everything I'll say. Thank you so much. I know I rushed a little bit, but I need to be able to get back to another engagement. Thank you so much. I think I'll take 1 or 2 questions. Yeah, thank you. Yes. Okay. Sure. Okay. Some questions? Yeah.
Colleagues, good afternoon. Yeah, my name is Josephat Bundoticha. I'm the convener of this session. I didn't have the opportunity to introduce myself because we had to do it quick with Dr. Bright because he's leaving us shortly. So I know there are so many questions, but let's just ask 2 or 3. Then we will have time to engage our panelists who are also experts, and they will give their, the day-to-day perspective on this area of study today. So we have you, Another one. We have another essay there. Those are 2. We need, so we have 2. Any other person? The 3rd one. Thank you. So we start with you.
Thank you, Dr. It looks like we are really bombarded with all these things, so many apps coming up so rapidly. Your advice to just a general mwananchi who wants to live a normal life, because you can't keep up with all this unless you're really in that tech business.
Yeah.
What's the basic security guidelines you give them to just be able to live on without worrying about looking behind your back and you don't have the capacity?
Okay. So like I said about the email part of things, I tell everybody, if you secure your email, you've secured a lot of things. And also, if you can separate your emails, have different emails for different things. The email you use for banking should not be the same email you use for your social media. Does that make sense? Email for banking should not be the same email for what? Social media. Separate them. So if one gets compromised, at least you have a backup. And then all the other things will have to do with the password management part of things. Yeah, you can have multiple passwords, multiple accounts. I have like almost 10 emails. They're all for different things. Yeah.
Mine will be a quick one. For normal hacking, the normal hacking that we go through. And you've told us here that it's very easy. Just go to settings, cache, then you delete. I'm wondering, don't you need to back up your data before you do this? Because I'm fearing like you will lose everything else.
To back up to?
Say, for example,
yeah.
My phone.
Yes.
Yeah? I'm suspecting that it has been hacked, yeah?
Yes.
You're saying that we go to settings, then we go to cache, then we delete, yeah?
Yes.
When that is done, when we're doing that, don't you think we should do that after backing up our data?
No, not necessarily.
Yeah.
Because the cache and the cookies are temporary files that is holding moments of you browsing. So if you delete that, it's basically just not having memory of, say, passwords that you've logged in over and over again. You know, we have a habit of keeping the password repeated over and over again, and that's where we get to be compromised. Yeah. I think the reason why the email never went through is because I used the wrong email. Oh, night out, yeah. Oh, I made a mistake. I wrote instead of .com, I'm still going to do that because I want you to see how easily it is to be able to impersonate him. So let me still do it as I get the other email. Sending from Kigali Alan to me. We'll make it a very simple subject, which is lunchtime. Kindly come for lunch. The other one is still from, or let's say from him as well. Great. So, to me again. Reply to goes to Amayo George. And the subject is invoice. Kindly get the invoice now. Yeah, the question?
Yes, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I have got 2 questions.
Yes.
First question is, as a sergeant at arms, or the sergeant at arms department, we are into just basic IT information.
Yes.
So, first, we usually get visitors from the gates inside the chambers. We first register them. Before registering, you just get the ID, the physical ID.
Yes.
You don't know whether it's a genuine ID or not.
Yeah.
First, is there an open source tool that can help the officers in getting information before getting someone in?
There are a few tools that I've shown today. A few of them are open source, which if you connect them, now you can have AI to be able to pull them together, can run things against that particular person to get quickly. But the easiest is to use a few others that are out there, like IPRS, for example, to verify the person's ID before they come in. People fake a lot of IDs. And then there are some third-party verification services that can verify against multiple places, like Glovo, Uber, and all of those in the Gmail, to verify that the person that who's coming in is actually the real person. The only difference is now speed. So open source tools can do that, but you need a lot of cloud computing storage for that, and fast. The proprietary ones is an API call that is going to fetch and come back. Because like something like this tool here, this has APIs that you're able to connect. Like Kigali, look at Kigali's entire life. I'm able to map out his entire life by just clicking on data and everything. But you can actually create a tool to say, fetch for me only details that proves that there's a confidence part of things that this is 100% confirmed that that's him. So the email identity has been confirmed. The location details 100% confirmed, 90. So the confidence levels of the systems can also be trained to be able to do that.
And okay, you've shown us about how to get cameras.
Yeah.
Mostly in our institutions. I hope most institutions, they only use the wired cameras instead of the IP.
Even wireless cameras. For example,
no, I mean they are wired, not
Yeah.
wireless.
Wired or wireless, same thing. If you use this tool here called Shodan, and I put something that says Cisco, and I put, say, country KE, this shows me every Cisco device that exists in the country, Kenya. And if you actually run more tools, you can find the vulnerabilities against some of these and be able to get them. Same thing if you put Hikvision. We actually I did a research on this for the entire country, so I have that information. Most Hikvision cameras can be logged into. That's what it's right. And you can be able to check to see which ones are vulnerable, how do you able to exploit them, because some of them are vulnerable. And also if you're on a router, most routers in Kenya don't have any security. So once you're able to get even on the Wi-Fi and able to compromise the router, you're able to compromise the the cameras, even if they are wired or wireless.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I think there is a burning issue, Dr. Bright, from the lady.
I really don't know why the email hasn't come. It will come after I have left.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
My name is Christine Madara. I'm a Sergeant at Arms from Nairobi County Assembly. I have two questions, if you allow me. One is, you started your presentation by mentioning that AI is here to stay.
Yeah.
And so we have to embrace it.
Yes.
And I would like to know, how can legislative institutions responsibly integrate AI-driven security systems?
Yeah.
And also, as a country, or rather from the various legislative assemblies, do you think we are prepared enough for the challenges, for the threats that come with AI? And for us as Sergeant at Arms, what kind of trainings would you recommend to help us adapt to the emerging trends?
Right.
Thank you.
I saw the bill around the AI part of things, and I had a lot of questions. A lot. If I want to start right now, that's another 2 hours. AI has to be regulated. If not regulated, people will abuse it, misuse it, they'll confuse it, if I should say, in what they can do. Their power, the amount of things I'm able to do with AI, which I use every day, it even scares me, right? Because my hacking scripts are easy. I create malwares for fun. Computer hacking and virus creation is a thing I do for a hobby. Now, do you know I don't have to use ChatGPT for that? If I go to Venice AI is able to do everything illegal ChatGPT will not let me do. Hello? And this is the power of AI. Venice will be able to help me hack wireless network, create scripts, go to Cloud AI, able to do that. But if we don't get to actually regulate it, that however you use AI in a country like Kenya, that should be punishable by law, then we're going to have a problem. Because now people use AI to now start making fun of the president. Why? Right? Or making fun of you. Or impersonating you. Or taking your voice and be able to replicate it and be able to use it in some sort of a skit. That should be illegal, right? Hello? Not just the president, it's a common monarchy like you and I. So we have to be able to regulate it. Where I find the gap is the fact that there has to be a lot of public participation with also other privacy experts to be able to draw the line of what is AI to be used for, what is not used for, not just to be held by the government part of things and then be able to actually push. So the AI bill needs to actually have a careful look at. We need to regulate it, and organizations or entities have to regulate it internally. A lot of organizations don't have any AI policy. I keep asking that question everywhere I go, and I ask, do you have an AI policy? They said no. So they now start uploading military confidential information saying, "Look, analyze this military plan and tell me if it makes sense or not." Trust me, AI tools can do a very good job by analyzing even the weak points. But if we don't have a regulation, that means you are feeding that information to where? A public portal. But if you have a very regulated version of it or a proprietary version, then you are able to actually contain where you're using that particular detail, because trust me, people like the war that is going on right now, they are making use of AI to be able to analyze countries, to understand what military techniques they have, cameras, the landscape, where we'll be able to be hit. It's being used right now. And we are seeing it happening. If you search about those, you'll find a lot of those. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The trainings, there are quite a lot. But I'm coming up with one myself, so we sure can discuss that. But we have a lot of AI training tools, but again, they are publicly available ones. Claude has basic AI introduction courses. Take them for free. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bright. Nafikiri tumesoma kitu sivyo? Yeah, and because of time, Dr. Bright, I would request that you take your seat for 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes. Okay, first, I would want to give a minute each to our panelists so that we are done with this subject, just to give a perspective in presence of Dr. Bright. Just 2 minutes, Dr. Bright, 1 minute each. We have the audience, you shouldn't worry. The roads will be open. You will be escorted all the way to where you are going. You will be there in time. And of course, we have the expressway. Karibu sana. I will start with Dan Duvi, the Chief Sergeant at Arms, Nairobi County. Karibu.
Good afternoon, colleagues. In the interest of time, I know that we'll be taken to a very high level, to a point that we are even afraid of using our gadgets here. Nevertheless, now I want to reduce the pressures. And in this juncture, I'd like to speak about issues to do with the resilience. Basically, with the resilience is the ability, when you are attacked, how do you get to bounce back to maybe your original state? However, I would like to mention that it is always good for you as an individual to avoid opening some emails from untrusted source. What do I mean? You find that some AI-generated tools can send unsolicited emails to you. So if you are told you try to open that link, it will take you to a very far place in terms of control of your gadget. I would like to say that it is something that is happening every other time. You are getting friends, neighbors, even family members who are talking about having been hacked. A case in point, like last month, we had a case from one of our members who lost control of his phone, and through that, a lot of people were sending money, actually, to a particular number. So by the time we were trying to restore the control, people had lost some amount of money. So there is what we call deepfakes. At times you get some funny messages in your phone, and you find that you are being told to do something which you don't even understand. It is always good to avoid such things, and are the same. Now, if at all you are attacked, I think Dr. Bright said what you are supposed to do, but since AI is here with us, I know its sustainability might be of question because we are told that the same information that your mind is able to use 6 folds to digest, the same, these AI machines, they are using to a point of, in terms of kilovolts. And you find that the same servers require so much energy to run and all that. So,
sorry for that interruption. Clearly, our presenter, Dr. Bright, is going somewhere, and he has to leave urgently. Can we stand up and appreciate our presenter? Dr. Bright, I have no doubt you are not in existence during the Nyayo era, so you might not understand the appreciation the Nyayo era way. So I would request that we raise our hands up and we shower flowers. And direct it to Dr. Bright with a clap. Let's repeat. We shower, then give a clap. Another one, shower, clap. Last one, shower, clap. Thank you very much. You may be seated. So, Dan, you can continue. You have a minute.
Oh, thank you. Before I was rudely interrupted, I was talking about I was speaking about how sustainability this AI thing is. And as I told you, you don't have to be so much worried. Because as much as we have AI in place, one thing, AI is not very accurate. It is just some probability here and there. And the key to note is the amount of energy that is required for these AI tools to work. It's in terms of kilovolts. Whereas what you require in your mind to process a certain information, you only require like 6 volts or thereabout. So the same servers, you are told that they require so much energy in terms of to process the information. And for every machine that is generating a lot of information, using a lot of power, you expect it to require so much in terms of cooling and all that. So what do we require to cool these servers? It's, of course, a lot to be desired. So talk of sustainability of the same AI, we have it with us here, but for you to be safe, you must use the human intervention, which is 80%, whereby you are using only 10% for the AI. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dan Buvi, the Chief Sergeant at Arms, Nairobi County Assembly, for that beautiful perspective. Now I'll call upon the Chief Sergeant at Arms of the Senate, the Director, Major Samson Sorobit, to give his perspective in 3 minutes. Welcome, sir.
Good afternoon, colleagues. I get to know that I'm in between your lunch, and therefore I'll try and resist the temptation to repeat what has been said. And of course, you had a property tutoring on the risks that are involved in the technology space that we are in, and the digital risks that are spread between personal use and the institution. So I'll leave that aside, but that's the adversary side of technology. I would like to talk about the protective side of it, the enabler side of the technology, where we can be able to use AI and associated digital systems to improve legislative support, and how will we look at it into the future, and possibly interest you in what the Senate is doing to be able to create a regulatory framework for AI and associated technology that is emerging. As a start, you know, colleagues, that we have the standing orders and the instruments that allow the Speaker to manage the proceedings of the House. So my proposal is to have a digital, legislative decorum management system that tracks the behavior of members, that is off the either national or infrastructure that is private in nature. And therefore, it is the institutional infrastructure that is not, you cannot log into it using systems that you can use internet. And therefore, able to issue silent, vibrating hempatic alerts to the members about breach of the standing orders. The other one is a non-physical intervention by the Speaker, where the Speaker will de-escalate protocols that switches off the microphone and provides visual cues rather than use physical force. And where will you be as Sergeant-at-Arms when that happens? So we need to be Sergeant-at-Arms who are smart and ready for what is coming. And the other matter is a suspension integration of members. If a member is named, for example, how do we use unified management systems to automatically deactivate either access cards or the privileges that are able to be enjoyed by a member? And you've been told earlier that we must, as enforcers, we must not be able to infringe on the privileges of a member. How do we then automate certain protocols, synchronized event management platforms that allow unified coordination with the relevant stakeholders? The other one, and this is very interesting and I hope will be applicable to us in the near future, and the correct investment into it, is passive monitoring using AI-powered anomaly detection systems. That currently there are balls, like the balls that used for field snook, like the snooker balls, that can be deployed on corridors to monitor the activities within the institution and possibly detect objects that are not supposed to be in the right place and send alerts to colleagues to be able to detect what is going on. And that can be deployed in the precincts and in the galleries, and probably in areas particularly when we have committees. You remember, colleagues, we live in an environment where our clients are constantly being followed, being monitored, including gadgets being placed in an environment like this. So how else can we be able to identify those risks and neutralize them before our clients use that particular space? And some of these tools are the ones that will help us do that. And the other one is entry and visitor management, where automated AI systems allow pre-registration, self-service desks, including kiosks for schools that visit colleges, institutions that have a higher interest now in visiting the legislature. And I'm sure colleagues, both from the national parliament and the counties, you've had this. On another scale is predictive risk analysis. How do we use AI to analyze public sentiments and historical data to prepare for potential security risks? If we had this, we would have anticipated the 256 breach in Parliament, and the history that it is hanging on our necks will not be there currently. And therefore, going forward, that's what we need to do. Lastly, automated incident response systems, where we integrate the system so that we have instant trigger lockdowns, evacuation based on sensed detected risks. For example, basic ones like unauthorized access. Someone walks into the speaker's office and unauthorized, or may attempt to breach the chamber or a committee room. How do we then get that alert? On the good side of it, we have the legislative proposals to create a good enabling environment where the regulatory framework will be able to provide good governance for AI, and that is Artificial Intelligence Bill 2026, Senate Bill number 4 of 2026, where it provides legal foundation for integrating AI into legislative sector while safeguarding human rights, and establishes the office of Artificial Intelligence Commissioner, where that commissioner will be charged by establishing the risk levels, where risks are either classified as unacceptable, as the systems pose severe threats, and therefore strictly prohibit them, and where there is high-risk systems that includes AI used for security and public administration will require mandatory risk and human rights impact assessment before deployment. And that has not been done. There is procurement of these systems left, right, center in both public and private, and can create problems to us. And lastly, how do we create proper oversight and intervention mechanisms to be able to provide transparency, traceability, and explainability of decision-making associated with the AI systems. And therefore, the attendant ethics around use of AI, including the emerging synthetic media disclosures. And you are shown a video clip where it is AI generated and you might think it's real. So that is related to what was spoken earlier about deepfakes and all things that are associated with the risks of AI. My last plea is within the public sector, have an obligation to have systems that are human-centric. And therefore, where does that leave you and me? My call to action is to have a smart sergeant at arms where there is flexibility, looking forward to have a future-proofed sergeant at arms that embrace AI responsibly, balancing the need for innovation with critical requirements to protect privacy and civil liberties. And remember, members have privileges around the precincts while executing their duties. We've seen, and it's going to happen in the coming session, as we get into the end of 2026, we're going to see a lot of these challenges in our spaces. And therefore, out of here, we need to be able to advise members on what they need to do to safeguard themselves and their families. Because it is not only them that there are risks. The moment a member is compromised, we're also compromised, our members, our families are compromised, our friends are compromised, and everybody else is compromised. So it is important that we seek that we strengthen the shield of the house against evolving complexities of the modern security landscape. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Director, Major Retired Samson Sorobit, the Chief Sergeant at Arms in the Senate. One more round of applause. Another one. And the last one for the two panelists. We've come to the end of this session, and I don't want to water down the presentations. I will only call upon the Deputy Chief Sergeant at Arms, Senate Major Retired Joel Kopito, to come and give us the next course of action. Karibu, sir.
Thank you for your patience. Actually, nothing much apart from inviting you for lunch at the hall called Kimakimwe. You'll be directed by Mr. Mudhuri, the one who is standing there. Please put up your hand. You'll follow him. He'll show you where you're going. If you don't have your meal card, get one from him. It is now 2:30. So we've got one hour. We meet here at 3:30. We meet here at 3:30. And then, looking at your program, we shall rearrange the order paper. We shall rearrange the order paper when we convene back here at 3:30. Enjoy your lunch. And that's why I said we'll be in uniform the whole day, because 3:30 you eat, you go change, it will be 2 hours. Just come back and let's complete the day. The final one and the most interesting, courtesy of the clerks of the two houses, you are invited for an enhanced dinner this evening at a location that will be shared before we leave. But it is mostly near this floor, where we're going to have some little ribs, some little juice, some little something else. How many aloe vera juice? And then for the risk of passing through the street of Hormuz, we'll shake leg a bit. So we have the most interesting band in town that is going to play to us tonight. A lot of rumba, a lot of juice, and some nyama courtesy of our clerks. Time, 6:45. Musieleza wale wameenda ndio wa miss. Asante, enjoy your lunch.